right up the middle, and that pass is incomplete, intended for someone who scored a touchdown early today, Jayshawn Ridgel, out of Athens High School, plays tight end and wide receiver, just not able to haul that one in.
He may have gone for another one there, Corey, if he'd have called it. It wasn't that bad a throw, and I think he thinks he should have called it. And they got some nice little schemes here. The South's going to have to make a few adjustments in how they're doing some of their coverages and what they're looking for.
Right at the 50-yard line, shotgun for Floyd, split backs. He's going to hand this one off, and bursting to the outside is Cherry, and Cherry is going to have enough for a first down. Kenyon Cherry from Madison Academy with another Black Diamond asphalt paving first down, and it will be at the North. We'll have it at the South's 44-yard line. Floyd dropping back, pressure on the pocket.
Right. Well, we're talking about they got a little pressure at the end and got the sack, which put them behind the chains a little bit.
And that's a great job by Jermaine Paramore from Saraland High School, the 6'2", 265-pound defensive lineman, making and pressuring the pocket, and that's going to be close to him closing down on Floyd, and will put him behind the sticks at 2nd and 17. One receiver to his left, two to his right, one back in the backfield, a quick throw in the flat, and looks like he's going to have that one complete once again to Rigdal out of Athens. And he's really found a nice connection there.
He has. And again, they're going after the corners and all, and short passes, but yet they're making guys miss.
Yeah, that's yards after catch are huge. Three receivers to his right, one to his left, one back in the backfield in the shotgun, stepping up in the pocket, nowhere to go, so he's just going to go ahead and run it himself. And great pursuit by the defense. And that's going to be a great play by Cameron Lafitte, the linebacker from Saraland High School, tracking Floyd on that play, just waiting, and showing his burst.
Fourth down. Big play here for the South. Big play for the North.
Yeah, Lee Osment running the table here on the South's 45-yard line with two receivers to the right, two to the left. Cherry, the back in the backfield. Like you mentioned, Coach, huge play in this game. 7-7 our score with 4:40 remaining in the second quarter, trying to draw them off sides with this hard count. And Lee Osment, the head coach of the North, calls a timeout.
It's their first charge timeout.
And that will be their first charge timeout. And 7-7 our score in this North-South All-Star game. We'll be right back.
You think this is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Yeah, Manor brand air conditioners are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA.
Ugh, I need the King boys.
Don't call two clowns in a tow truck when you're dreaming of them King boys.
There's a lot in life to smile about. Are loose dentures or missing teeth keeping you from enjoying the things you love? Don't miss out on enjoying life's precious moments. You can be you again with affordable mini dental implants. You can smile again, laugh out loud, and have your self-confidence back. Let us help you make it memorable.
I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
Sylacauga, we are your hometown dealer. 3 locations: Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan. Avoid big city prices. Shop local and save with 0% financing. 0%. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. We even offer mobile service, or we can pick up and deliver. No charge. Lower prices. Better service. We are your hometown dealer. Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan. Right here in Sylacauga.
Can a 10-minute oil change really get your car taken care of the right way? When you take your car to the shop for an oil change, wouldn't it be nice to know that it was inspected to make sure it's truly safe for your next 3,000 to 5,000 miles? Don't let 10 minutes cost you way more than time. Get your car taken care of the right way at Wright Tire and Service in Sylacauga.
Getting it done the right way.
Welcome back here to Mobile, Alabama, the 65th annual AHSAA North-South All-Star Game. And don't forget, folks, a huge AHSAA reclassification special Monday at 9:30 a.m. live from Montgomery, Alabama on WOTM, WOTM.TV, and part of the AHSAA TV network, as there's going to be a quick kick here by the North on 4th and 6, and there'll be a fair catch called and a little bit of acting ability there, looking for the flag and the flop there. Where's the kicker? That is also the quarterback for the North, Peyton Floyd, as he tried to sell it, and now it will be 1st and 10 for the South, taking over at their own 14-yard line, Coach. And 7-7 our score with 4:32. And after that injury, we've seen both teams kind of bounce back and be resilient, just like you spoke about.
Welcome in, everybody, to the AHSAA reclassification show. Caleb Brooks and D-Mark Mitchell here with you to break down all these new teams, getting in the new classifications, finding out their new regions, and knowing what their new opponents are going to be now for the 2024-2025 year. Always an exciting time when reclassification time comes around here for the AHSAA.
It is a big day. Good morning to you, and good morning to our listeners and our watchers on TV, and we're glad to be here. Yeah, big day for the Alabama High School Athletic Association. Reclassification 2024-25 for the fall, and right now they're live. The Central Board of Control is meeting right now live to go over that. So we don't have any information right now, but we will. But I think for the teams in the middle of the pack, Caleb, they know where they are. But there's 4 AISA schools moving in to the AHSA, 2 of the dominant AISA teams moving in. So it'll be interesting to see where it all folds out, what will happen with the regions, if they'll make them larger, smaller. A lot going on this morning.
Yeah, no, a lot going on. You mentioned the AISA teams that are coming over. Obviously, that's been a big story over the last couple of years. You know, we've seen Tuscaloosa Academy make that move, and they've maybe been as successful as anybody has making that move from AISA to AHSAA the last couple of years, meeting Pisgah and Fife there in the playoffs and getting knocked out by those 2 teams, but playing very competitively with them. You know, obviously, you've got some other teams that have moved over. Pike Lib has moved over, and then we found out here recently this year that you got Glenwood coming over, Lee Scott, and you know, a couple others there from the AISA. Obviously, Lee Scott from your neck of the woods. Talk a little bit about that move here at the beginning and how big this is for that region down there, that Auburn, Opelika region, and now having another group and Lee Scott now making the move over to the AHSA.
Yeah, you're right. That's big. And only Lee Scott will be at Glenwood about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, from Lee Scott, those 2 arrivals. Yeah, that's a big deal right there. Head of school, Dr. Dr. Cox worked on this for a couple of years, presented it to their board. I think the big move there for Lee Scott is more sports for the females, the minority sports, more opportunities to play, better competition. I don't mean anything derogatory toward the AISA, but 2 big schools in the AISA, the 2 dominant teams that played in the championship game the last 2 years. Lee Scott winning it the last 2 years, but Glenwood right there. Coach Buster Daniel at Lee Scott, you know, ready to make the move, and I think they'll do well. They're waiting to see if they're going to go 2-3A. We'll see what that happens. Same with Glenwood. Will they put them in the same region? Will they separate them? Who knows? We got Coach Nelson over there at Glenwood, does a super job. They met the last 2 times for the championship, so the two big ASA schools made the move, and they're really excited.
Not only from that standpoint, I'll tell you, I'm excited from a baseball standpoint as well, seeing those two programs make the move over to the AHSA, and obviously a new coach there, and Coach Cook, who made the move from Trinity, won a state championship there at Trinity, and now is at Lee Scott. And then, obviously everybody knows the Glenwood baseball program and just how dominant they've been from an AISA standpoint, over 20 championships. They now make that move over here to the AHSA. That's going to be a lot of fun from a baseball in a region that's already got Phoenix City, who's played for the last 2 7A championships. You've got Auburn, who's been there, Opelika, who's been there. I mean, that's a great area of baseball that's adding to it with Glenwood and Lee Scott now coming over.
I think you mentioned Smith Station. You can throw Russell County in there. You can put a bunch of them in there, Dave. Well, good baseball there, Beauregard. It will be interesting. It will be interesting for those two schools, because now they have more opportunity. I mentioned this was one of the things that Dr. Cox mentioned, more opportunities for the girls, more sports. You got bowling, you got esports, you've got wrestling that they didn't have, swimming and diving, some opportunities that they didn't have in the AISA.
Hey, not only that, flag football. We saw that at the Super 7 here recently.
Bowling.
And, bowling getting involved as well. And, we saw flag football, and that's a sport that's grown so much over the last couple of years. We got to see that at the Super 7 this year with the 1 through 5A classification getting going and having that now for the first time this year. And then obviously Phoenix City pulling off the first, win it in football and win it in flag football as well this past week at the Super 7. It's been fun to watch flag football grow for me over the last couple of years. How have you felt about the way that sport's really grown, and then now needing 2 different games at the Super 7?
Incredible. I saw it the first year at Protective Stadium, and I remember looking at Kim Vickers, and I said, Kim, this is going to be big. I said, I see an event within an event in the future, because there was already more people there than had ever been. We had not had a big crowd in our earlier games Wednesday, and of course we had not had a flag football game, but it was a larger crowd of some 1A and 2As, and I was like, this is fixing to be big. They brought their bands, so I think you're probably fixing to see way more classifications as we
the first game that we had at Protective Stadium that you were talking about, I mean, it lived up to the hype. It came all the way down to the end, foot being on the back line or not being on the back line, and we didn't go without controversy in that first game, and I think that that helped with the coverage. People talked about it. That was something that everybody talked about, and the media was talking about that week, and it just helped the sport grow even more. And then as we talked about this past week, I mean, Winona, Montgomery Catholic playing in the 1 through 5A game, Phoenix City, Vestavia playing there in the 7A game. Phoenix City's, their girls, they just finish off a dominant run for their season. They go 17-0, and it was followed up by the boys that night with that game with Thompson. And, you look back at the Super 7 a couple weeks ago there, D-Mark, and I thought this was one of the better Super 7s that we've had, and I thought that this game right here between Thompson and Phoenix City really kind of set the tone for the week with how tight that ball game was, the amount of athletes on the field, and Phoenix City ultimately being able to pull it out and get another state championship there, this time with Coach Nix.
Yeah, awesome week. Good job to Tuscaloosa. Central's girls and boys win the state championship. How about that? Auburn played in it last year together. Central this year, Central gets the wins. Beautiful week in Tuscaloosa weather-wise. They did a superb job with it. Our partners in Super 7, of course, I'm one of the partners in Opelika and Auburn with our Super 7. But excellent job by the folks in Tuscaloosa. And let me tell you something, Caleb, excellent football games. You're right about that. I'm going to say this. The bookend games, the 7A and 6A, it started in a bang and ended in a bang. Now, two agonies of, thrills of victory and agonies of defeat. So, 4 great teams there that started it, and 2 started and 2 ended it. And of course, had in the middle of the 10 that played, and of course the 4 girls games as well. Excellent job last week, Super 7 in Tuscaloosa.
And one of the things that I've talked with people about is even a couple of the games you look at where the scores are a little bit further away. Obviously Mobile Christian's game, Montgomery Academy, and then even Fife. Those are still tight football games. It was 7-0 in the third quarter with Montgomery Catholic playing. And then you look at the other one, but with Mobile Christian, it was 14-0. Then it was tied at 14. Then it was 35-14. Then it was 35-28. They stayed within each other for a while in that ball game. And then Fife and Reeltown was a great football game. Reeltown just wasn't able to do enough late in that game. But it's really one of the first times that we didn't have 3 or 4 just dud games at the Super 7. And we've gotten that in past years where you look at it and you go, these matchups could be good, this team could run away. It was 7 really good, and really when you add in flag football, it was 9 really good matchups last week. And to me, that just shows the growth, I think, of football in this state, the growth of the coaching that we have in this state. You're starting to get more and more good teams year after year.
No, I agree with you, 100%. You nailed it. You don't want to blow out. You don't want to see blowouts in the championship game. Sometimes you get it, because you're north and south. You may not have, it's not always the best 2 teams because of the the North and the South. But you're right. It was some very good football games, and those that go right down the end. And you mentioned the district. The difference in the scores and some may have looked a little different, like wider, those that were wide, but they were not in the game.
Yeah, one game that looked like it was going to be a blowout, that Ramsey and Gulf Shores game. Ramsey did a very good job of kind of taking back control of that game, getting back in the game. They had multiple chances to win that game there late in the ball game as well, and was just unable to do so. But you see there on the screen, Clay Chalkville, raising up the trophy that ended the week, as you said, on a great note. I mean, making a tackle right there at the 2-yard line. It was the two teams that we, all year, it's no disrespect to any of the other teams, but once you saw Saraland play on TV, once you saw, Clay Chalkville beat Thompson earlier in the year, I said, hey, that's the game we want to see in 6A. Saraland, Clay Chalkville at the end of the year. It lived up to the hype last week, and really you had two stud players in that game as well that lived up to the hype a lot, and Ryan Williams, and then obviously Jalen Mbakwe on the other side there for Clay Chalkville.
A lot of stud players. A lot of players. Good coaching, good players, a lot of talent. You're right about it. You nailed it. And, Coach Kelly does a good job, even with a win right there. Somebody said, what was he doing? Well, he was trying to win the game.
Yeah.
Every coach there is trying to win the game. How about Montgomery Catholic? 41-2 in 3 years? Not bad.
No, not bad at all. Yeah, you got to give Coach Kirk Johnson a lot of credit for what they've been able to do there, what they've accomplished.
There's a guy at Fife, wears a hoodie. What's his name? Benefield?
Oh, yeah.
I think did he win? Oh, he won another one, didn't he?
Yeah. That was 7 in the last 10 years.
What a guy.
You're talking about a guy, and Coach Paul Benefield, and I want to talk about him real quick before we get in. And again, a reminder, you're watching the reclassification special here on the HSA TV network. We do not have any information. It's kind of like watching the college football playoff selection. Yeah. We're going to find out when you guys find out. So when we see everything come out and who's in who dropped down to 1A, who ends up making the move up to 5A from 4A. When we get all that information, you'll be getting it at the same time we do. So we're still waiting on that. They're, like D-Mark said earlier, they're in a room, they're meeting about it, talking about it right now, and, really finalizing everything before putting it out. But always an exciting time for everybody to figure out what their new regions are going to be, new areas in basketball and baseball and volleyball and those sports, and just a fun time of year. And so we'll have those here soon, and once we get those, we'll be releasing them to you and letting you know each of the new classifications for 2024, 2025.
Yeah. Now today we get fall, right?
Yes.
Just fall sports, right? Yeah, because they do the winter and then the spring, so we'll know fall with the the fall.
So we'll know volleyball and basketball, all those different regions, and obviously football as well. With one of the things that's been interesting in football to follow the last couple of years is the different numbers. And, we've had some regions with 6 teams in it. We've had some regions, obviously, like Opelika and Auburn and them that have had 9 teams in it. And that's always an interesting dynamic, especially from a scheduling standpoint, because you look at some of those teams that have been in a 6-team region, like that Elmore County region and some of the, Shelby County, Demopolis, some of them the last couple of years. It makes it where you got to play a lot more non-region games, and that gets a lot tougher to find when you have a lot of these other regions that have a full schedule and don't have as many non-region weeks to go and fill up.
I agree with you. I think the Central Board of Control would rather have more teams. I'm not speaking for them. I'm just looking at it, in our terms, lay terms. You would rather have more region games than non-region games. And you're right. Those 6 regions, that means 4 make it, 2 don't. So, it's best to have. You don't want to get too large, but you don't want to get too small. So that's what that committee's doing right now. The Central Board of Control, that's the governing body of the HSA. They represent each district, and they're in there. They make the decision. It's not Coach Briggs. It's not Ms. Vickers. It's the Central Board of Control. And what those gentlemen and ladies do right now will determine what we show you. It's not Coach Briggs. It's not those folks. They help, but the Central Board of Control is in charge.
Yeah, another thing with all that, too, you got those 6-team regions. You got the 9-team regions as well, like, what we saw this past year with Auburn, Opelika, and Prattville. And, I mean, there's, 2 or 3 good football teams that's getting left out of that region each year from making the postseason due to how tight that region is and how big it is. And that also adds one more region game into the mix as well. So you're looking at those schools, they're only getting to play 2 non-region games, and it gets a lot tougher to find those games for those level schools, those 7A schools as well.
You bring a good point up. That's a very good point. And you look and go, look, I've already got these teams. Who do I want to play? Do I really want to play this team? You look at Thompson Opelika opened in the Champions Classic, Kickoff Classic. It's a big game for 2 7As that are not in the same region. So, a lot to look at. And, of course, after these today, to kind of fast forward, Caleb, the coaches, the coordinators of each region we'll have a meeting, and they'll go through their region. They'll flip the coins, draw the numbers, and figure out who plays who, what dates. You know, the state gives them the region dates that you play on. These are the dates you play your region games. And then the director holds the meeting. The director of each district of the region hosts the meeting at their place, and all the schools go to that site and they determine the schedule. Yeah. And then you go after that, you get your non-region schedule. So a lot happens after today.
I'll tell you one team who's going to be excited to find out their region schedule is going to be Pike Lip, because you look at the last 2 years for them, and they hadn't had a region. They didn't, didn't have a chance to play for a championship in football the last couple of years. And you go look at the schedule they've had to play the last 2 seasons, and they're going to be happy to get into a classification and get into a region of their own and be able to play some teams that are more their size, because to their credit, they have not shied away from anybody over the last couple of years, and they've kind of paid the price for it from a record standpoint, but I think that they're going to benefit from that here over the next couple of years after facing that level of competition and now having the chance to go and play for a championship now.
That's a very good point. That's kind of like a trial run they had, you know what I mean? And you hate it for the kids that didn't have an opportunity to play in the postseason, but that's over. And moving forward, they will. And you mentioned, was it Tuscaloosa, I think?
Yeah,
they have done real well.
Oh, yeah, Tuscaloosa Academy.
I look for the 4 schools moving over to do well, too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, you got 4 really good programs that are coming over, not just in football, but in multiple sports, and so that should make it a lot of fun. We're going to take a quick break right here in our reclassification special show. When we come back, we'll continue talking about some things going on around the AHSAA and get you geared up for reclassification, announcing which teams are going to be in which class here in the AHSAA as we head into the 2024-2025 football and sports year. So stay tuned for more right here on the AHSAA reclassification special.
They're live right there.
You think this is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Yeah, Manor brand air conditioners are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA.
Can a 10-minute oil change really get your car taken care of the right way? When you take your car to the shop for an oil change, wouldn't it be nice to know that it was inspected to make sure it's truly safe for your next 3,000 to 5,000 miles? Don't let 10 minutes cost you way more than time. Get your car taken care of the right way at Wright Tire and Service in Sylacauga.
Getting it done the right way.
Sylacauga, we are your hometown dealer. 3 locations, Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan. Avoid big city prices, shop local, and save with 0% financing. 0%. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. We even offer mobile service, or we can pick up and deliver. No charge, lower prices, better service. We are your hometown dealer. Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan, right here in Sylacauga.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. I'm definitely embarrassed to smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life because it made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. I just want to say thank you.
You can be you again with mini dental implants. I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
I'm more than happy. I'm ecstatic.
This is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Manor brand gas furnaces are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA. So this baby is true red, white, and blue.
And then I remember the band.
So there's your live look at what is going on at the AHSAA headquarters down in Montgomery right now. Right behind those closed doors, they are meeting and kind of solidifying everything through each of these classes, getting ready to release these region settings for each of these programs going into this 2024-2025 years, as well as the area settings there for volleyball, basketball, and all those different winter sports, and as we talked about earlier, growing sport there, flag football as well. They'll be kind of figuring out things for them as well. So Caleb Brooks, D. Mark Mitchell here with you to break down all the reclassification and which programs are going to be moving and things of that nature. I can tell you a program, though, that's not going to be moving. That will be Central Phoenix City. I got a good feeling they're going to stay in 7A. And
you don't think they're going to jump down?
I don't think so. Yeah, probably going to stay in 7A. And I'm going to tell you, they're probably not too upset with that as well, because they've had a lot of success here in 7A. When you look at the last 2 years, and obviously their basketball team played for a state championship on the boys' side at the beginning of this year. Their softball team has been extremely successful and has been knocking on the door of a state championship. Baseball's played for the last 2 7A state championships. And, we saw football win it this past year. They've played in, 3 state championships now within the last 6-7 years. They've got it going on down there in Phoenix City, and that's down around your neck of the woods. You get to keep up with that program a lot. And Phoenix City's always been really good in sports, but it really kind of seems like as a whole, their athletic programs have really taken another step up to become one of those dominant programs here in the state throughout all sports.
Central does a good job. Very good job. Don't forget the ladies state champion in flag football. And A.J. Keogh, the baseball coach, they don't get any better than him. He's top notch. And superb athletic department. Coach Burkett, boys basketball coach. They do a super job, Caleb. You mentioned that. I was looking at that door. I'm going to get up from my post some Wednesday, and I'm going to go in there. I think I can. I know them all. I'll just go in there and say, hey, we need to know what's going on. Give us the scoop. But, no, you're right about Central. They've done a good job, and I don't see them slowing down, Caleb.
Yeah, no,
that's a tough region in that area.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, they've been doing it in, what you could argue. I mean, we talk about this Birmingham region up here with Thompson, Hoover, Vestavia getting in the mix now, Hewitt, finally getting over some humps this year and getting some big wins over some certain programs. That's basically the SEC West. Then you've got Auburn, Phoenix City, and all them. That's the SEC East down there. I mean, that's what makes, I think, what Thompson's done, playing for 6 straight, and then now Phoenix City, what they've done here recently, and even Auburn and what they've done in that region down there, makes it so impressive because they're doing it in the hardest regions to do it in the whole entire state.
No, you're right. Don't forget Coach Etheridge over there at Auburn High, taking care of business. Don't forget about Ben Blackman down at Enterprise. Don't forget about Dothan. My goodness, I can keep going here.
Yeah,
that's a
right.
good
And
group.
even the Montgomery schools there. I know from a record standpoint they haven't been as good, but we all know that the athletes are there. Percy Julian and Jag and all those different places. Now you got Lanier and Carver combining. That's something else we hadn't even talked about.
School, Caleb.
Yeah, you can maybe have that now making the move up to 7A and changing some things up as well, and changing some things. If they move up, then does Prattville stay in that region? Does Prattville move up into that Birmingham region? If one of those, if Chelsea or Oak Mountain or one of those Birmingham schools were to drop, that's going to be very interesting to look at in 7A today when we get this reclassification.
Yeah, now you're trying to kind of move around there. And of course, let me slow down a minute. And there's something that people need to think about too. Think about 1A schools. Okay, do you know where all the 1As are? You can't draw a straight cross in the state. Okay, because the schools aren't located in 4 quadrants. You may have 40 1A schools in a cluster. So you have to. The board has to figure out how to separate all those schools equally. With travel, it's really complicated. After it's over today, take your time to go to the website. Look at all the schools in 1A, 2A, all the way up, and look where they're located on the state. And you go, oh wow, you can't grow and go this part. You can't do it.
Well, I can give you, for example, I followed Daveville a bunch during the year this year. They were in a region with Walter Welborn, Sachs, Weaver, and all
Good
those.
point.
All those that are right up in that region. Well, then right down the road is Jacksonville, and Jacksonville's a South team in 4A. And those teams are South teams in 4A, but then you got Piedmont right up the road. They're a North team in 3A, and so you got all the, you got this group right there around that Oxford-Anniston area where you got certain people that are North and certain people that are South, and they can meet and play for a state championship.
Lanette's been North and South.
Yeah.
Little 1A, 2A, they go back and forth, North and South. So yeah, you have to. There's so much to consider.
I mean, Walter Welborn was in a region with Fife and some of them in 3A a couple of years ago, and then now they were in one with Beulah this year. So you just don't ever know.
Coach Washington was a guest on my radio show this morning on the Mark, and he mentioned average daily attendance 20 days after Labor Day. Did you know that's what they count? I don't know how many people in our audience did, but the 20 days, that's how they go average daily attendance. Private schools, they're now member schools, the 1.35 multiplier. You have to add that onto it. Then the competitive balance for the schools that are in private school that win, how many points you get, do you go up, do you come down? So much to consider.
Yeah, I mean, you got Coosa Christian who just played for a state championship in 1A, they're more than likely going to have to make that move up to 2A, having made the semifinals the year before, made the state championship. And so while their school from, a number standpoint would still be 1A, from a football standpoint, they're going to have to make the move up to 2A now because of that competitive balance that you just mentioned.
Yeah, and people wonder why a private school, when they join the association and become a private member school, why there's a multiplier. And Coach Washburn mentioned this, and Coach Washburn, Dan Washburn, former executive director, 3 executive directors ago, mentioned that private schools have a select group they can take. They do not have to take all the kids, test scores, all in between. So that's why they put that multiplier in there. They didn't go 1.50 because Coach said it moved schools 2 classifications instead of 1. So that's when they determined to go 1.35. And then they added the multiplier, a couple of years ago, Caleb? Yep. And added that to it. So it gives you a little history of why we have the competitive balance factor with the private schools that become member schools.
Yeah, no, I think the competitive balance thing's been a good thing because it's been fun to see some of these teams move up and compete. UMS dominated 4A for a while. They've moved up to 5A. They've been successful, haven't been as successful, but it's been a good challenge for them, and I think it's been a good challenge for Coach Curtis. And we got to see that earlier in the postseason this year. Coach Curtis, Coach Horn meeting up there in the first round, playing against each other, the 2 winningest coaches in the state at the time when they were playing. Now Coach Benefield has tied Coach Horn with his win in the state championship here recently. But how cool was that to have the 2 winningest coaches face off with each other? And we would have never gotten that in the postseason without that competitive balance forcing UMS to move up to 5A.
That's a good point. Great game, too. Great game, you're right. Very good point. And you're right about the competitive balance moving up. And they come back down if they don't stay up there. So, will they change that today? They could go 8 classifications. They could drop to 6. There's a lot on the table today. This group decides what goes on.
Yeah, I'll
and
tell
they're
you.
meeting right now.
Yeah, another team from a competitive balance standpoint, not in football, but in volleyball, Bayside Academy down there with Coach Schilling. They've won 21 straight going into this year. They finally don't make it to the state championship. Mountain Brook ends up knocking them off. Mountain Brook wins their 7th of the last 10, but that was a program they had moved up from 3A all the way up to 6A, and it wasn't affecting them. They were still finding ways to win. So to me, that's a good example of, some of these, I've heard some people complain about competitive balance and having to move up, but it shows if you're good enough, you can move on up and go continue winning. And Coach Schilling and Bayside Academy showed you that, what they did in volleyball.
You're right about that, Caleb. That's just part of it. They make the rules. And look, member schools make the rules and can change the rules.
Yeah. No, so HSA is just there to enforce it.
The members take care. Yeah, the governing body handles all that. So all the stuff we're talking about, the coaches, athletic directors, principals, they can change it by submitting it to the board and having it voted on. So we're still waiting on that group. Central Board's voting. They're meeting. We don't really know. I asked to see if Coach Briggs could talk with us. I haven't heard back. Caleb, I don't have any information out of him. I hadn't heard from Coach Briggs or anything yet to see if there they are. I swear I'm going to go down there and knock on that door.
Yeah, there's the closed door. Now we're waiting to hear and see what is taking place behind those closed doors right there.
How come we don't have a camera inside? I thought I got there. I could have put that camera in there.
Yeah, hey, we could be getting a good up close. We could just have, we should just broadcast the whole meeting where everything's said in there. It's on live television, and I'm sure they would. They'd love that and appreciate it.
And to let everybody know what they're looking at, that is the headquarters of the Alabama High School Athletic Association on Halcyon Drive in Montgomery. That is, I think that's now I don't want to say, is it the Dan Washburn room? I know they were naming, I can't remember, but I shouldn't say that. But that's the big media room, or the room where they have a lot of their meetings, a large auditorium room, and where the press conferences are held. And they normally would be in the boardroom, but that looks like that is the big auditorium, so they're not at the big table in the boardroom, it looks like.
Yeah, and so, obviously we had some other things that happened recently here with the HSAA as we wrapped up football season. Just because the Super 7's done doesn't mean the football season's done. And we headed down to Mobile this past Friday for the North-South game and got to have that. I've really appreciated the move from the North-South being in the summer when all the other All-Star games are taking place, it now being moved in the fall where you've gotten guys that are a little bit fresher from a football standpoint playing in this game, and I think it's up the level of competition in this game the last couple of years.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. You know what? We had North-South, and we had Alabama-Mississippi, and Alabama-Mississippi, I don't know which highlight we're going to go to first, but a big win for Alabama, Team Alabama. 26-17, I think, was the final, Caleb, down at Hancock Whitney Stadium in Mobile. And so congratulations to Coach Ben Blackman, who's the head coach. I know there's a lot of coaching going on there. Not many good players, just all coaching. No, I'm just kidding. A great group of young men that represent Team Alabama. They won the game, and shout out to quarterback Roman Gagliano, one of the, in my neck of the woods, one of them up like a Bulldogs, who had a couple of touchdown passes and had one to Malcolm Simmons. I think it was a big part from Benjamin Russell, I think you were in that area, part of the woods for a while. So one of Coach Grider's wide receivers. So look, a lot of players in that game. I shouldn't be mentioning certain individuals. That's not fair. But how about Towns Magoo? I think he can kick. And he can kick with his left foot.
Yeah, how crazy is that? I mean, I've never seen a guy have to kick left-handed or left-footed who's normally a right-footed kicker. Here's a couple of the highlights from that North-South game that took place on Friday. And you had Corey LeBounty there on the call for this game. And a lot of good talent. Fluff Bothwell in the game there, who will be playing at South Alabama. A little bit of trickery in that game. Yeah, it's always tough, D-Mark, when you don't have time during the week to practice those type of plays and stuff very much. And saw a little bit of a hiccup there, but just a lot of good athletes, a lot of good players. You know, this was a game, the North-South game, that when they had it in the summer, you had guys that maybe had not played football in a while and not, put on the pads for a long time. And you had certain guys that had gone ahead and moved on from their playing career and things like that. And now having this game in the fall, you got guys that are more fresh, had just gotten done playing. And you're getting a lot more guys that are going and playing at the next level as well that are able to be a part of this game, because when it was in the summer, they were already enrolled in college and doing summer workouts and things of that nature. So I think it's opened up the ability for a lot more guys that are signed to maybe not the Alabamas, the Auburns, the Ole Misses, and those places to still be in an all-star game like this at the end of the season and have a chance to go play at a college campus.
Very good point, Caleb, and you are right. That's 1 week after Super 7, that they played. And so that is a good point, and of course, fresh and, raring to go. So it wasn't like they had to wait several months and then go back out, and play again. Of course, that's North-South there. 28-31, South wins it and wins the championship. And as far as the All-Star game, and I think we can hear some of the guys talking on the broadcast there. So the game moved to the 2 games last week. This past weekend.
No, yeah. And you saw Kirk Johnson there on your screen. He had been celebrating a AHSA championship for a week, and now he gets to celebrate a North-South championship. They're coaching with the South team and going on to get a big victory, and so a lot of fun there. And then we had Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game as well, as we mentioned, in Hattiesburg on Saturday. And, fun game there. A lot of great players in this game. And, you mentioned it earlier with Ryan Williams making some plays and Malcolm Simmons making a couple plays there from committed to Auburn. And, I know Dre Kirkpatrick's son. How crazy is that to say? You got Dre Kirkpatrick's son playing in the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game, and that makes me feel old. So, but always a great game when these two states get together and play against each other. But Team Alabama's really taken control of this All-Star game over the last couple of years, and I think going into this one, Mississippi had not scored against Team Alabama for the last 2 or 3 years, or had scored less than 10 in the last 3 years. I know there was back-to-back shutouts from Team Alabama here recently. Team Alabama wasn't as good up front this year as they've been in the past, but they were a lot better at their skill position when you look at what they were able to do in the secondary, forcing some turnovers. And then obviously, we talked about Ryan Williams, Malcolm Simmons, and a couple of those other skill players that were able to make plays and help Team Alabama to the win.
4th straight in a row for Alabama, as you mentioned, the series, 26 wins for Alabama and 11 losses. How about that? You mentioned Dre Kirkpatrick there playing. That is amazing. Defensive back from Gaston City. I see you mentioned I mentioned Ben Blatton was the head coach of Team Alabama, and Judd Boswell from Clinton, Mississippi was the head coach of Mississippi there. And of course, you can see the explosive highlights there. I was gonna go over some stats I had here in front of me. Cove is always good to get some. There we go. I think he's going to put some stats up for us, but it's always good to get some individual stats or team stats. Caleb, Alabama with 15 first downs, had 310 yards passing, 384 total yards. Mississippi had 282 total yards. There you go. You can see the stats right there. First down went to Mississippi, though, if you can see that. I want to see some individual marks right here, Caleb. If they put those up, you see the kind of balance there with passing on being a little bit more on both teams, not balanced, but more passing than rushing on both teams. Throw it. More first downs from Mississippi, but the scoreboard counts, right? How about those 5 turnovers down at the bottom? That's big, very big.
That's what's been really killing Mississippi against Alabama here recently. I would love to look at the numbers, but I would probably dare to say that they've turned it over 15 times in the last 4 meetings with Team Alabama over this win streak. So, I know I did a couple of games where it just felt like Mississippi was just handing Alabama. They'd get the ball on offense and just go, here, we don't want to play offense. Y'all just take the ball and y'all can play. So
yeah, let me give you some games, individual stats here, Caleb, for Alabama. Let's see, Jamarian Burnett had 69 yards rushing, 26 for Aaron Green, passing. Jared Holmes had 160, Roman Gagliano 150, 11 of 19 for Jared Hollins, I'm sorry. And Roman Gagliano, 4 of 7 for $150, 2 touchdowns for Roman, 1 touchdown for Jared. Ryan Williams from Benjamin Russell, 92 yards receiving. Donovan Price had 87 yards. By the way, Williams had 2 touchdowns. 88 yards from Malcolm Simmons, who had the touchdown, so 310 yards. Simmons, 100, and averaged 44 yards on his punts. So a couple of little tidbits there on individual stats. You mentioned Kirkpatrick. Had I can't find his tackles right here in front of me, but he had a good day.
Yeah, he had a fumble recovery and had an interception as well. So good performance from Team Alabama, 4 straight wins in that series now. And, you look at it here recently, it's been dominant on the defensive side of the ball from Team Alabama. This year it took a little bit more from the offensive side, but that just kind of shows where the state is. If you listen to a bunch of recruiting people and things of that, they kind of told you going into the year that it's in the same type of year it's been in the past from an offensive line, defensive line, outside linebacker standpoint here in the state, but your skill positions, your wide receivers, your corners, your guys that can move a little bit, we're probably a little bit better in this state than we've been in past years as well. And it kind of showed with how that game went, maybe not as dominant defensive performance, but a lot more offensive numbers in that game than we've seen some of the past couple of years.
Yeah, you're right. You were talking about talent. Gosh, there was so much talent on that field. What about in Tuscaloosa last week? I remember I saw Coach Dabo Sweeney and they were talking. I said something about who you watching. He said it'd be easier to tell you who I'm not watching. You know what I mean? So you could. It was a field day. We talked about Super 7, but Caleb, I don't know who wasn't there, coaches wise.
I saw that night of the Friday game. You had Charles Kelly flew in from Colorado, was at the game. I know Cadillac was there with Hugh Freeze, Freddie Roach. Tommy Reese, you mentioned Dabo Sweeney being there, Steve Sarkisian was at the game. And there's multiple others that, we're missing that were definitely at the game. And, I know Bo Nix was at the game Wednesday night before heading up to New York to go participate in the Heisman Trophy ceremony and getting to, celebrate that with his dad. To be a cool week and moment for them. I know Bo ended up not going on and winning the Heisman, but your dad wins a 7A state championship, and then a couple of days later, your whole family's up in New York celebrating that you're one of the Heisman finalists. It's a really, really good week there for the Nix family.
Great week. I didn't think about that. I walked by him before the game. You know how you walk by somebody and you're walking, you go, I knew that guy. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And I was up in one of the suites and we were talking, and Coach Nix's daughter was up there. So they were everywhere, and so congratulations to Central in that week. And coaching-wise, though, Caleb, I saw the former coach at Troy one day and the new coach at Tulane the next day. So
yeah, John Summerall making the move there from Troy to Tulane, and I can tell you as a Troy grad, I was not happy about that.
Ooh, I know you're not. So, what a great job he's done.
I liked him. Yeah,
you're a Troy grad.
Yeah, I was there when Neil Brown was there, so we were rolling when we had Neil Brown, and then a couple of down years after I left, and then Summerall got him back. That one Hail Mary against App State just changed things there for Troy, and now he'll move on to Tulane, and should be a really good opportunity there at Tulane. This program is getting back to being one of the premier places, really in the whole entire country.
Yeah, I just thought it was unique. One day he's representing one school.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the world we live in.
New polo in the next day.
Yeah, he does a good job, and congratulations to him. And it'll be interesting to see. We got a lot of openings in Alabama, too. So
no doubt.
Speaking of college openings, we got a lot of high school openings. We're still waiting. We're waiting on reclassification. We're not holding you up. We're waiting ourselves. There they are. I swear I'm gonna bust in there in a minute and go, hey, what's up? What's up? This is D-Mart. We need to know what's going on up here.
Yeah, so there's a look at the doors. We're waiting for information on who's going to be in what classification, who is changing regions, all of that type of stuff. And so hoping to have that information here soon, and we will break all of that down for you right here on the AHSAA TV network. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll continue talking about things going on around the AHSA and continue getting ready to release the reclassification here in the fall sports for the AHSAA in our 2024-2025 athletic year. So stay tuned for more right here with the AHSA TV network.
You deserve a bonus. Get a new 55-inch 4K TV now at Sarah Nissan. 3 locations. Buy or lease any new Sarah Nissan and get a new 55-inch 4K TV, no charge. Event pricing on every new Nissan. 0% financing for 60 months and make 0 payments till next year. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. So come get your bonus at Sarah Nissan in Birmingham and Sylacauga. Plus, Tony Sarah Nissan in Coleman.
There's a lot in life to smile about. Are loose dentures or missing teeth keeping you from enjoying the things you love? Don't miss out on enjoying life's precious moments. You can be you again with affordable mini dental implants. You can smile again, laugh out loud, and have your self-confidence back. Let us help you make it memorable.
I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Alabama. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the AHSAA.
For almost 10 years, there's been the go-to place for tires and automotive repair, Right Tire. Right Tire sells all makes of tires for anyone's vehicle and anyone's budget, and with Right Tire, you always get the right prompt service with the right price. Right Tire also can handle all of your bumper-to-bumper automotive needs with certified brake service, alignment, oil changes, tune-ups, and so much more. So when you want tires and automotive done right, see Right Tire on West Fort Williams in the heart of Sylacauga. Right work, right price, every time.
They said put Cujo on.
So back here in Montgomery, waiting the reveal. Hey, there's David Holtzford walking into the office, giving us a nice smile. Hopefully David will give us some information as we wait to see who's going to be in what classification.
Cujo's here. I just want to clear that up, okay? He's here. No worries, Coach Buzz. He's here. Coach Freeman, Cujo's here. Uh-oh, there's
starting to see some movement.
There
yeah,
we go,
Coach
Devin.
Booth
Let me call Coach Booth real quick.
Used to be at Opelika, now part of the
I'm playing around.
HSA group
no,
there.
No, we'll give her a call here.
Well, hey, look, we're just happy that we got some movement going on there in the building. So that means that if they're starting to walk out and move around, maybe that means that they have finished things up, and hopefully we're going to get all the information here soon to reveal all these classifications and where everybody's going to be here for this next year. Always an exciting time and always a fun time to keep things rolling here with the HSA seasons. You know, we got basketball rolling now, wrestling getting going as well. Now can be in full swing with some of these football players that have made the move over. That's a sport that continues growing year after year, and you're starting to see more programs, especially in the South, that are starting to get wrestling programs, and female wrestling obviously becoming a big thing now as well. So, excited to have these sports rolling. And, here before you know, we'll be at Legacy Arena for basketball. We'll be up in Huntsville for wrestling, and we'll be crowning some more state champions.
I'm sorry, Caleb. I'm just talking to a few people at the minute in Montgomery, and it's just comical. Yeah, you're right about that. I didn't mean to get off, but there's a lot going on, and there's still some waiting going on. So I don't know how long we're going to be here, Caleb. There's a lot of questions coming in, folks. We're not waiting. But go ahead, Caleb. I think they will.
Yeah. So, looking at some of the basketball coverage that we're going to have here Tuesday and Wednesday here with the HSA TV network, and D-Mark, some really good games that you see right here on the screen. McAdory and Florence, Mississippi facing off with each other. Huffman, we know they didn't have as good of a football year this year, but that doesn't mean that they ain't got it going on the basketball side. They were Coach Ward and what they've been able to accomplish. Bob Jones, they're facing the team out of Mississippi, and they'll have to go. You got Fayette, Georgia, Paul Bryant, Jasper, and team out of Tennessee. I mean, just a lot of different teams here from the state of Alabama. They're going to compete against teams from different states, and we see it each year in football. We try to take a lot of pride here in the state of Alabama and representing this state well and going and facing these teams from out of state. Big opportunity for a lot of teams that we're used to seeing at Legacy Arena: Coleman, Phoenix City, Mountain Brook, Huffman. A lot of teams that have played for a lot of state championships here over the last couple of years.
Yeah, you got McAdory, Florence, Mississippi, Huffman, Bob Jones. Is that Itawamba, right? Mm-hmm. South Potomac, Huffman, McAdory, Fayette County, Paul Bryant, Green Forest, Louisiana Collegiate, Jasper, Fayette County, Georgia, Florence, Mississippi, Coleman, Greens Forest, Georgia, Central North Course, Georgia, Mountain Brook, Myers Park, North Carolina. What a group. What a group.
Yeah, so should be a lot of fun over the next 2 days, and you can catch all that right here. Should be some fun action, and look, it's a weird time for some of these basketball teams because this is always a different type of or time of year for some of these groups, because you have certain programs that are just getting some of their basketball players that just finished playing either in the semifinals or playing in the finals in football. You got some groups that have been practicing together since football season ended and playing together, and so you got a lot of different teams that are kind of at different points of their season right now.
You are so right. How many played football? How long did they go in the playoffs? And how long have they been able to practice basketball? Because there's two conditions. There's football condition shape and there's basketball, and they're total opposite. But the teams that come back after the break and get hot are the ones that will win the title.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about November and December. You don't win championships in November and December. You win them in January and February and going into the March. Look, I just got some news. It's going to be a while.
Well.
So it's going to be a while. So I don't know what we're going to do, but it seems like it's going to be a while, guys, from what I can tell.
All right, well, still talking about
That's
basketball.
From inside, so.
Yeah, so still, it's going to be a minute here on this classification. So we'll take another break here and kind of talk things over and how we're going to continue going about this to present this once they finish up there with the reclassification meeting there at the AHSA headquarters. So we'll step aside and we'll come back. We'll continue waiting here as they try to get things all hashed out and put teams in their right place and let us know how we're going to go about this 2024-2025 athletic year right after this here on the HSA TV network.
This is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Amanda brand gas furnaces are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA. So this baby is true red, white, and blue.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Sylacauga, we are your hometown dealer. 3 locations: Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan. Avoid big city prices. Shop local and save with 0% financing. 0%. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. We even offer mobile service, or we can pick up and deliver. No charge. Lower prices. Better service. We are your hometown dealer. Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan. Right here in Sylacauga.
You think this is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Yeah, Manor brand air conditioners are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA.
So there's a look at the doors live down there in Montgomery as we're still waiting on them to finish things up. And according to my partner here, D-Mark Mitchell, it's still going to be a minute on them finishing up this reclassification. You know, I know that everybody's wanting to get their information and wanting to see how this goes. And like we said earlier, we're getting it when you guys get it. So, you know, we don't have anything here with us. I had a couple people, once they found out I was doing the show, that reached out and said, hey, can you give me any early news? And I can't, because we don't have anything here with ourselves.
I can give you early news.
I mean,
They're meeting
this morning. It's just like when you're watching the college football playoff selection show. I mean, we've got nothing here. We're going to see it when you guys see it, be able to talk about it. You know, when you guys, you know, are able to see it when we, you know, talk about it and stuff. So, you know, just talking about the year in general, D-Mark, you know, we've talked about the Super 7, talked about football, north-south, all that. You know, you got basketball going and things of that nature. What's been fun to me is seeing the way that high school sports in general have grown over the last couple of years. I mean, when I was in school just 10 years ago, we didn't have this. There was no show. There was no, you know, none of this. I mean, you just found out, somebody would release an article, and that's how you found out what. And so within 10 years, we've gotten it to where you have an FHS network. You have every game that you can see on Friday night, you know, right there at your grasp. I mean, I'm sitting there calling a game on Friday with my phone set up, watching some other game that's going on around the state. You know, I'd be calling games on Thursday nights during the year and watching, you know, a different game. And, you know, we had one this year when Opelika and Enterprise were playing that night, and obviously was keeping up with that one. That was a huge football game that had a lot of playoff implications. And it's just been fun for me to really see the way, and not just in football, but in all sports, the way that high school sports are getting more and more coverage and seen more and more. And you know, through all that, I mean, it's doing nothing but grow these different sports throughout the state.
All you got to do is look at all these texts right here.
Yeah.
We didn't have this either. I got probably 40 coaches right here texting, and we're able to text. I'm trying to work while we're on TV. I'm trying to get some information, but you're right. As far as the NFHS network has brought high school athletics into your home, into your phone, wherever you are, no matter where you are. You can watch your loved one, your friend, your school play with a small fee, about or less than you would if you were there. And so it's made it extremely popular. The sport's grown. We've got a TV show, TV set. HS has a radio network, a TV network. I mean, we do it all. We're live. We're meeting. I mean, it's a lot going on. And we've got championships at Bryant-Denny Stadium, Jordan-Hare Stadium, Protective Stadium. Probably going to make some moves there. I'll be, you know, the CFP playoffs is obviously Tuscaloosa's out. You know, we don't know anything in my neck of the woods yet. That's yet to be determined. Don't need to talk about that right now, but there'll be changes. But to go back to your part, high school athletics is huge, and it continues to grow. And it's really the last pure sport. I know there's some talk about NIL and high school sports. I'm not going to go down that road right now. I don't think that's the proper time. But high school sports is as big now as it's ever been. And you can believe that by how many people that are waiting on this right here.
Yeah, no,
you know
yeah. I mean, your phone's getting blown up. My phone's getting blown up.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. But we don't know anything. We're trying. They're telling us inside it's going to be a while. I'm trying to get some people to talk to us. So a couple of them can't, obviously. But there they are. They're behind that door, Caleb. And like I said, it's the Central Board of Control. That's the governing body of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. And they make up the rules. They vote on the rules of the proposals and what happens with all classifications, whether they take this plan, whether they say, no, we want to do this. They vote on it the good old-fashioned way, majority rules, Caleb.
So that's kind of what we're waiting on right now, and, you know, looking to see how they are able and how much time they're going to need to hash all this out as well. But, you know, look, fun time of year. It's a fun time in our sports here, trying to figure out who's going where, who's going to be moving.
Yeah, I was going to go over. I believe I have the. Obviously, I think this is what it says. This may be a little bit It says the 2023 Legislative Council. I was going to go there. Central Board of Control, Terry Curtis, Secretary and Treasurer out of District 1, Trina McKenzie Smith. That'll be out of Jackson High School. District 2, David Hawthorne is the President. Jeff Torrance. Luke Hallmark is the Secretary President out of District 3. District 4, Dr. Farrell Seymour, Opelika High School. Now it is, I think this is an old list here, but it does say 23-24. But now it's Mr. Whedon, Albert Whedon, Kim Keel, Mike Welch, Quentin Lee, Holly Sutherland, Jamie Chapman, Brian Leff, and Damon Garth. So there are some of the Central Board members that are inside that room right there meeting with to go through the Central Board of Control, to go through the classifications.
Yeah, I'll tell you, to a lot of people, it seems like it'd be easy, you know, and they say just draw it up on a map and all that, but it's not as easy as a lot of people want to make this out to seem. And you know, you also got certain games and certain programs that you're trying to keep together that have always been together as well, that you know, they do take into consideration, which also makes some of this a little bit more difficult as well.
Now, what you would be saying is you want to make sure you keep your rival games if you can, because you got to have money, you got to have finances to operate your athletic department. So, you know, it kind of goes back into attendance, boosters. You got to play as many local people that'll draw. So it's a lot tied into it.
Yeah. No, you guys dealt with it for a little bit with Auburn and Opelika being in different class. You know, when Auburn made the move up to 7A, Opelika was 6A, you had to find a way to keep that game together because of what it does for the budget there for both Auburn and Opelika when they get that home game every other year.
I remember at the time that happened, I was the president of the Opelika Booster Club at Opelika High School, and I remember then Superintendent Mark Neighbors met with, it was Coach Blackman at the time, Bitt Bryan, myself, Farrell Seymour, who was a principal, and Neighbors, and said, we're going to continue to play Central Auburn, there's no question. We're not backing away. We're going to continue to play the 7A teams that were 6As that we've always played. And so that's the right attitude. Now they're back up. So you're right. They played each other. They were able to make it work in every sport. It's still a great rivalry. It was an even better one, I think, when it wasn't implications, but they're doing a great job with it now. Coach Etheridge is a class act. Their whole program's run. Coach Norton's a great job with AD, and their whole athletic staff is class, and so is Opelika. So they get along well, and they'll continue to play. And it's very important they do for gate purposes. During that time, you used to have to try to get Central home game one year and Auburn the other to make sure you have a good sellout, you know, for your season tickets. So revenue for all of these athletic programs is very important, and who they play, so they can bring the dollars in to keep their athletic department growing, because you got to have money.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I mean, you know, we're just using Auburn and Opelika as an example because DMARC, you know, has some association with those two schools. But I mean, you got plenty of places out there that they need these rivalry games. They need, you know, we saw this year Jackson and Thomasville decided not to play against each other, and that affects both of those programs and affects those communities down there. But it affects the programs and affects the gate that you would have coming in. You know, the last couple of years, Dadeville and Reeltown haven't played against each other due to certain circumstances, and that hurts both those programs from a gate standpoint. And then for those two, the cancellations happened so late they couldn't go find another game, so you basically just lose a whole game out of that right there, which, you know, I mean, long term, that can really affect your athletic budget, and, you know, getting helmets reconditioned and shoulder, you know, new shoulder pads and certain things that you need equipment wise for these guys.
No, you got to have that. And in your sports that don't bring in a lot of revenue that are just as important, you know, the most important sport at a high school, right? The one your son or daughter plays. If you ask the parents. So they all are important. Unfortunately, some do not bring in revenue. So the ones that do bring in revenue, they have to spread it out, spread the love. So you want to keep your rivalries healthy, you want to keep your attendance healthy, and you want to have a good program. So it all goes hand in hand. I mentioned after today, when these classifications are put out, the regions, each region will have they have a director who's over the region. They'll have a meeting, they'll call a meeting, and all the teams in that region will go there, a representative, and they will figure out their fall schedule up next year. And the state lays out region dates. They fill those in. How they determine, like in each region, who plays what, that determines in that group when they meet how they vote, what they decide to do. So there's a lot to do. You got Christmas break coming up. I don't know if some will do it before break. It'll be tough, but some will certainly after today have to decide will they do it before break or after. It'll be early January if they wait. After that,
Some teams may already know who they're playing in or non. Some may not, because you don't know if your region was going to grow or get smaller. So a lot of schedules after today. Everybody goes to work on all their schedules. A lot of phone calls, a lot of contracts. Play me here, there, home, away. I'm playing this home game. I got this. I need this many home games. I need this many It's a lot. It's a lot.
You know, I'm sure if you're at a place where you kind of know where you're going to be, it makes it a little bit easier. If you're one of these teams that's a tweener that could drop from 7A to 6A, that could drop from 6A to 5A and so on, I'm sure that makes it a little bit tougher for those programs to try to schedule non-region stuff because, you know, unless you just go a couple classifications lower or a couple classifications higher, you run the risk of maybe scheduling a team that's close to you that if you drop or if they were to rise, you could end up in the same region and now you're back to square one.
Yeah, we are. You're exactly right. And I don't really know how you do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't. You have to. You can have an idea, you know, but you can't. And
I like being the one that gets the schedules handed to me and not the one that is having to actually go do the scheduling and then go hand them out.
Think about that. You got let's say you got an 9-team region. So you got 9 teams you got to figure out. I mean, 8 games in each team and who's home, away, and then you're doing 2 schedules at once.
Yeah.
Because this year you play at home, next year you play them on the road. So you got to, a little over my head.
It's a lot, yeah. It's a lot to figure out. You know, most schools try to get a balance of 5 home games, 5 road games for football, and you know, try to keep that. Then you got some that will pay certain schools to come to them twice, and one year you have 6, one year you have 5. I mean, you know, there's a lot that goes into all this and trying to keep that balance. I mean, I think there was a school this year that played 3 road games last year and had to play 7 road games this year. So only got 3 home games this season after getting 7 home, you know, and so it's hard to try to balance all that out. And sometimes you run into situations like that where you play, one year you're going to get a bunch of home games, but the next year you're going to make up for it by going on the road almost every single week.
Yeah, ideally you would want 5 and 5. Yeah. You'd want home games and road games to equal. You know, you'd want that. We're waiting on reclassification. Their Central Board of Control is in their meeting. They convened early this morning. In the past, they met the day before, came back the next day. Today they did it a little different. So we're going into over 2 hours, and so we still don't know anything. We're trying the best we can, folks. I'm getting a lot of I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go down the hall in a minute.
If we had something that we could tell y'all, we would tell you, I promise you. So,
there we are.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of look there at the door. We've seen a couple people walk in and out of there, but obviously still nothing final and finalized yet from that group. So still waiting on them to get things done, and that way we can reveal it to you, show you guys right here on your screen, and find out, you know, who's going to be playing against who, and what some of these, you know, we mentioned it earlier, you got a couple of different classifications that could have, you know, some teams that stay within that classification but could move from north to south, south to north, you know, different stuff like that, and that'll be fun to watch.
You know what? We didn't talk about 7A.
Yeah.
They switch up.
Yeah. I mean, this next year with the playoffs, you're going to have different matchups.
I can't remember which scenario, but what I'm talking about is there's 2 north and 2 south regions, and they're going to cross. It's going to be, you know, it's not going to be the 2 north and the 2 south play each other. They're going to go north south for the first time. So
yeah, I think this next year you're going to have that Thompson, Hoover, that region is matching up with that Mobile region, and then that Huntsville region will match up with that Opelika, Auburn.
Is that the way it is? Okay,
yeah.
I did not know that. So say that again one more time.
So you're going to have that Hoover, Thompson, Birmingham region. They're going to match up with the Mobile region this next year.
Okay.
And then that Huntsville region will match up with the Auburn, Opelika, Phoenix City, Enterprise, you know, that region within there.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
I'm excited about it. It's going to change some things up.
I think it's good too. I want to
We've had a lot of the same matchups in the first round, and then a lot of the same teams winning and having the same matchups in round 2, and then really the same semifinals as well.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't always. Super 7 is not always the best 2 teams. I don't mean that the wrong way. You may have a semifinal matchup. This is your best 2 teams, but because they're 2 in the north and 1 in the south, you know what I mean. But maybe this will be something that we may see in the future with all classifications.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'd love to see it all open up, and you know, it'll be interesting to see if maybe they use 7A as that guinea pig, and then look at it and go, hey, well, this ain't too bad having to travel different places and do different. It's a little bit easier for them because there's only 4 regions compared to having 8 in the other classifications, but still, you know, it would be cool to maybe seed them out and go 1 through 32, and then, you know, go from there if there's a way to do it.
Well, and let's go back to that. Okay, so how do they determine who's in 7A, who's in 6A, and so forth? So after they take the average daily attendance for the 20 days after Labor Day, first 20 days, they list this average daily attendance of every school. Then you take your private schools and you multiply it times 1.35, okay? Then you take your private schools that have played and put the competitive balance factor. And then you put those numbers out. Does that make sense? So you have your average daily attendance of the first 20 days after Labor Day of every school system. Private schools, the head of school sends that enrollment in. It doesn't come from the state. The State Department of Education sends the average daily attendance of the first 20 days after Labor Day of every school to the HSA. That's your numbers they go by. Competitive balance, and then the multiplier for your private member schools, okay? Then you list them. You go the top 32, that's your 7A. 60, is it 63, 64? 64, 6A, boom, boom, boom. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
So, but you gotta remember, competitive balance factor to the private member schools and the competitive balance factor.
And then I'm not 100% on this, but I think that
we'll make it up.
A private school, yeah. I think that a private school can't not, so if you qualify to be 5A and then a private school, because of competitive balance, moves up, they won't move that team that qualified, that public school that qualified as 5A won't move down. They'll just have 65 teams in 5A and 63 in 4. I think that's how.
All right, say that again now.
So if a private school, because of competitive balance, has to move up to 5A, and then there's a 5A school that will say it's the last number, it's the last one.
Correct.
I don't think that public school gets moved down, because I think then you would just have 65 in 5A and 63 in 4A, and that private school moving up just because of competitive balance doesn't affect that public school getting moved down into 4. I think that's correct.
I'm gonna say I can't answer that.
Yeah.
So great. He got me on that one.
Look, we try to spend, when we're at these events like the Super 7 this past time, we're at Legacy Arena.
Don't try to trip me up.
We're talking to all these people that are involved in this, all these head officials and stuff. We're trying to find out how all this stuff is done so that we can relay this information to you guys. So, we're always constantly sitting there talking about certain things, talking about the reclassification, the way that regions are determined. I've had multiple conversations with people about how we do the postseason and different ways that we could do that and that type of stuff. So, we try to have a lot of these conversations with these type of people so that we can give this type of information. And so, I feel like I've had that conversation with somebody before where
You're
they
right.
said that.
I've got to confirm.
Okay.
Somebody in our audience said you were right.
All right, yeah, that's what I thought.
I trust Coach Marty.
So if what they do is they take all the public schools and they separate them. Then they do the private schools, like you said, and then they do the competitive balance. But if a school has to move up because of competitive balance, that doesn't mean that public school, who's the last public school in 5A, gets the benefit of moving down to 4A. They stay 5A, and you just deal with however many are in that classification due to that private school.
Right, and because if you did it, they'll move somebody next year.
Yeah.
I thought about it. And that's not a reclassification year because of this year. And the 4 member schools, private schools that are joining, this will be a new year for them. So that's on that. So we're still waiting. We don't have any information. I still got it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
Why is it taking so long? Because they're meeting and voting on it.
Yeah. Nothing we can do about it. Look, if we could speed it up, I promise you we'd have them speed it up and then get us the info, because we're excited about it.
We're going
Same
on
way
about
all
4
you guys
hours
watching
here,
are.
guys. We're going on 4 hours. Cujo needs a walk.
We're going to take another break here. When we come back, we'll continue talking about different things around the HSAA and getting prepared for those 2 doors right there to bust wide open with some paperwork and letting us know who's going to be in what classification and who's going to be changing, who's going to be in new regions, all that different type of stuff. So stay tuned for more right here on the HSAA TV network.
I'm headed down to the door, Caleb. All right.
This is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Amanda brand gas furnaces are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA. So this baby is true red, white, and blue.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Sylacauga, we are your hometown dealer. 3 locations, Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan. Avoid big city prices, shop local, and save with 0% financing. 0%. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. We even offer mobile service, or we can pick up and deliver. No charge, lower prices, better service. We are your hometown dealer. Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan, right here in Sylacauga.
You think this is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Yeah, Manor brand air conditioners are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA.
You deserve a bonus. Get a new 55-inch 4K TV. Now at Sarah Nissan. 3 locations. Buy or lease any new Sarah Nissan and get a new 55-inch 4K TV, no charge. Event pricing on every new Nissan. 0% financing for 60 months and make 0 payments till next year. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. So come get your bonus at Sarah Nissan in Birmingham and Sylacauga. Plus, Tony Sarah Nissan in Coleman.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. I'm definitely embarrassed to smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life because it made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. I just want to say thank you.
You can be you again with mini dental implants. I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
I'm more than happy. I'm ecstatic.
So we're back here waiting on reclassification to be announced here from the AHSAA. They are right behind those doors, meeting there at the AHSA headquarters in Montgomery. And so we're waiting on them to wrap things up and give us some information so that we can give it all to you people out there. And I'm excited about it, and I've been seeing on social media and getting a lot of texts. I know there's a lot of other people that are excited about it out there. But D-Mark, you got a guest with us now, and so we're going to talk a little bit to some different people and kind of get their perspective on this reclassification and all that. And so, D-Mark, you can introduce your guests.
Yes, sir. I got Dr. Stan Cox, who is the head of school for Lee Scott Academy, on our hotline right here on my phone. Good morning, Dr. Cox.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being with us this morning. Big day for Lee Scott Academy. Your school was, of course, you applied for membership with the Alabama High School Athletic Association and was voted in. This is a big day for your school this morning, isn't it?
It is a big day. It's an exciting day for us.
Tell me a little bit about Lee Scott making the move, Dr. Cox, AISA school, the entire time you've been in a school and making the move to AHSA. What all was involved in that?
Well, it was a well thought out process for us. It was not a decision that we took lightly. Having over 40 years with AISA athletics, but our school has benefited from being in a growing community, and our school has just grown to where we can offer multiple teams in every single sport, but unfortunately other schools are not able to do that. So part of our mission statement is to provide opportunities for our students, and we're looking for a group that will help us do that. And the Alabama High School Athletic Association is able to do that, offering multiple sports and allow us to have multiple teams and even new sports that we currently are not able to participate in. And we're excited about the opportunities for all of our students, but especially for our female students. This gives them an opportunity to participate in more sports. And so we're just excited about what the future holds for us.
Yeah, Dr. Cox, I know you mentioned earlier the part about the female sports. There's a whole lot more for your girls on campus and now to participate in.
Oh, absolutely. Flag football, bowling, swimming, diving, the opportunities that they have allows us to have middle school teams, varsity A, varsity B. Well, right now we look for schools that will have multiple teams so that we can play our kids.
There you go. Dr. Stan Cox with us. When you looked at the numbers, I believe you were expecting maybe 3A, Dr. Cox. Would I be correct? Maybe guessing?
Yes. Expecting 3A, but I know that, like y'all been saying, with competitive balance, and I don't know enrollment for other schools, and they could drop or they could increase and push us wherever it is, and so it's just exciting. And Caleb, I think you were right. This is like watching. Watching college teams being announced that they get an invitation to go to a tournament, or or Academy Awards being announced who's nominated for the next award. And so this is just exciting to us to see where we're going to go, who we're going to play, and then we start getting prepared. Yeah, you really do. You have a lot to get prepared for. You're right. That is a good point. And it's important. Glenwood, another team, one of your neighboring schools, has been your rival. Be important to keep that going, I would imagine, with as far as finances. Dr. Cox, your thoughts? Oh, I'd love to continue the rivalry with Glenwood. We're rivals on field, but we're friends in the community. And, it could be logistically possible for us to maintain that, but, that's how the numbers come out, and that's one of the things we're looking for. Fortunately, with the way things are set up, even if we go our separate ways, in different regions, we still have some open dates that we could possibly make that schedule work, where we could continue our friendly rivalry. There you go. Dr. Stan Cox, head of school with Lee Scott Academy, here on the line with us. We're talking about reclassification today. Got to get to work with the schedule. I know it'll be a big day. Coach Daniel, two-time back-to-back state champion in football. You've having some good success in athletics, Dr. Cox. I congratulate you on that. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for your time, and we appreciate you being with us this morning, all right? You're welcome, anytime. Thank you. Dr. Stan Cox there with us, talking about the important move from the AISA to the AHSA, Caleb, and what it brings for those students at Lee Scott and the other AISA schools. And look, all these AHSA schools that we're getting texts from, it's going to be probably looking towards 11:30 noon is what we're hearing now from that meeting from people. Ron Ingram just made a phone call to me in the break and said they were doing normal, but it was taking normal time, and it would be a little later than we were anticipating here, maybe not there.
So you get to look at the doors there. I think that was a good perspective, though, there from Mr. Cox. Is everybody considers football, and that's the big thing everybody looks at. Okay, well, they're making this move for football. They're making it, but I think that was a good perspective for everybody else to hear. And they're making this move because it opens up more opportunities for kids that play other sports. Not, and the AISA, it's not a knock on them, but they don't offer as many stuff. They don't have as much of a need for it as we do in the AHSAA. And so I think that was, good for people to hear that it has nothing to do, Lee Scott's they're having success in AISA football right now. So, if it was up to them, they could stay right there and continue winning state championships. It's the opportunities that it's opening up for these other students to participate in other sports that the AISA doesn't offer, that is really prompting a lot of these moves from a lot of these programs that have made that move here recently.
Yeah, that was the first thing he said when he appeared on our show, and when we talked about it on my radio show, he mentioned that. And then, you want equal representation of all your student body. And he made the comment when he was on the radio, I meant to ask him, I think he said it was almost 90+% of students in high school participate in athletics here now. And look, he's a retired HSA, public school educator, so he knows a lot about the HSA too. So, but they'll do well. We're still waiting reclassification being voted on by the Central Board of Control right now. Caleb and I are just patiently waiting, trying to fill airtime here and see if we can't get to the bottom of it. Looks like it's going to be a little bit longer than we think here, Caleb. Yeah. So I don't know what the game plan is.
One of the things I was going to ask you about, there was talks at one time of Auburn, the community, having two high schools like Hoover and Spain Park have. With Lee Scott now moving to AHSAA and possibly bringing in more students, could that affect those plans down there for them? Do you know at all?
Okay, now back up. Would that affect?
So there was talk at one time of Auburn, the community splitting into two different high schools, going from having just one high school in Auburn to having two different ones like Spain Park and Hoover.
I'm not Mayor Anders, right?
Yeah, no, okay. I know, but I just didn't. I know you talked to Mayor Anders a good bit, so I didn't know if you maybe knew if this would. Yeah, I didn't know if you knew if this would maybe affect those plans at all in the future. If Lee Scott moving to HSA could then maybe draw more students to Lee Scott, to where then they don't have to go ahead with those plans of breaking into 2 different
You
high
know
schools?
what, Caleb? I don't know. I don't want to speak from a good friend. He is a good friend, Mayor Anderson. We talked on the way up here this morning, but I would be out of lane guessing that. Everybody has a good relationship there working in this Opelika, Auburn, that whole Lee County area. I never thought about that. I know the change, but I couldn't answer that.
Yeah.
I know there hadn't been a lot of talk lately about the splitting of the schools at Auburn. They have a great school system. Dr. Herring does a super job with that school system and her board and her entire staff. And so I really can't answer that. I really can't. It's a good question.
Yeah, no, I didn't know if y'all had talked, if that's something that you had just been a part of.
But I wouldn't answer it, Caleb, if I could.
I got you.
I'm just messing with you. I don't know that. Yeah. I don't know that.
We're going to take another break here. We're going to continue waiting. As D-Mark told you, we're probably looking at about 11:30 to 12 range on when they're going to finish and be able to give us that information so that we can start giving it out. So, hey, my best advice would be to stay tuned with us right here on the HSA TV network. You never know what second, minute, hour that they're going to be able to give out this information that we can start talking about it. So stay tuned with us right here. We'll be back with more right here on the HSA TV network.
Hey, Siri.
Sylacauga, we are your hometown dealer. 3 locations, Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan. Avoid big city prices. Shop local and save with 0% financing. 0%. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. We even offer mobile service, or we can pick up and deliver. No charge. Lower prices, better service. We are your hometown dealer. Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan, right here in Sylacauga.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. I'm definitely embarrassed to smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life because it made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. I just want to say thank you.
You can be you again with mini dental implants. I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
I'm more than happy. I'm ecstatic.
All right, I'm going to talk to you, Coach, when we come back. I'm just going to get you to do like you did on my show this morning.
All right.
So we're back here in Montgomery. As you see the doors there, we've seen a couple people walking in and out, but still nothing official. And so still waiting on our reclassification and being able to give you all of that information. But we are pleased now to be joined by former executive director of the AHSAA, Mr. Dan Washburn. And Mr. Washburn, first of all, just thank you for taking the time to join us here this morning as we get ready for a big day here, reclassification with the AHSAA.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, hey, Coach, good morning to you, and thank you for taking time to be with us this morning. Coach, you were executive director. Give the years you were executive director of the High School Athletic Association.
1990 to 2007.
Okay, tell everybody what is going on right now.
Well, I would suspect, and from what I've heard, little I know about it now, but the Central Board came in probably at 8 o'clock this morning, or even before maybe, and Central Board of Control is responsible for doing this, making the final approval of reclassification and alignment in regions and areas for other sports. But Central Board came in this morning in a work session and was able to look at what had been laid out by the staff. I understand that maybe Jeff Seegers and Marvin Chow had been working on this for some time and under the direction of Mr. Alvin Briggs, and they presented something to the Central Board this morning for them to look at and study and look at how it affected each of their 8 districts. Those Central Board members represent each of 8 athletic districts across the state. And at some point in time, and I suppose, I'm guessing now, Mark, that they met at 10 o'clock probably to have this presented to them by staff and Mr. Briggs, and then to vote as to approval of the final reclassification and realignment for football. I understand from Ron Ingram this morning that they will go ahead and do the alignment for regions for football with this reclassification, because certainly some of the spring sports will be affected by the competitive balance, and you don't know exactly which classification they're all in yet, so that'll be done at a later date. But indeed, this is a big day for the schools across the state and for the Alabama High School Athletic Association in putting together the reclassification, and I suppose, and that's up to them, but I suppose it will remain in 7 classifications, and it'll be done for some 415 high schools across the state.
This body, the Central Board of Control, by the way, we're talking with Coach Dan Washburn, former Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. We're waiting reclassification. Central Board of Control behind those doors right there on your TV meeting. Coach, explain the Central Board of Control, if you will. I've gone over that with our listeners this morning, but from your words, if you will, what I know they're the governing body. Explain to our listeners and our audience the Central
Board of Control. There are 8 districts in the state, and on these 8 districts, there are 4 members which make up the Legislative Council. And the Legislative Council, out of that, they select the one individual from that group that will represent them on the Central Board of Control. So there are 8 members, and according to the bylaws and the Federal Court Order 1968, there would be 8 white members and then 4 by-district black members, which makes up a 12-member Central Board of Control, plus 2 females, one from the top 4 districts and one from the bottom 4 districts, which alternate year to year, and then 2 females and 1 individual representing the State Department of Education, which makes up a 15-member Central Board of Control. This Central Board of Control is responsible for overseeing the affairs of the Alabama High School Athletic Association, especially the championship programs in this organization, as well as holding the executive director and their staff accountable to follow the rules of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. That's their duties. I answered for 17 years to a Central Board of Control. Steve Savarese answered some 15 years to the Central Board of Control. Before me, Mr. Herman L. Bubba Scott answered for 25 years. So there's those 3 plus Mr. Cliff Harper before him, and now Mr. Briggs is the 5th one to come on board. So this is primarily the duties of the Central Board of Control. They'll look at that reclassification. They'll look very closely at that and at the realignment for football, and then approve or disapprove, ask them to go back and revisit that. That's their job that they're doing today. That's what they're doing behind those closed doors today.
Now, Coach,
very important.
I'm so sorry, Coach. Explain the multiplier with the private member schools, and explain why the
1.35 multiplier was instituted about around the year 2000. Just put it pretty plain and simple to the listeners. The schools were about to oust the private schools in the state. I did everything I could to work with, but I think the votes had come down to, and when they met in the spring to do the visit to proposals, it was probably going to take the private schools away from the public schools and not allow them to be a part of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. At that time, I presented to them a 1.35 multiplier, which would somewhat balance their enrollment. And the big concern was, a big complaint was that the private schools do not take academically deficient individuals. They can turn away those students that are not academically efficient. They can turn away those special needs students that they may not want. So they control their population and their enrollment somewhat. The public schools cannot do that. They take all students in their district, no matter who they are, or where they come from, or
whether they know the ABCs or not. They take them all. So this kind of equals up that enrollment thing by which schools are classified by. And that's what we've been under for so many years.
So in other words, Coach, they didn't have to take me if they didn't want to, right? With my grades.
You couldn't pass arithmetic, Mark. You wouldn't have to.
I made an A in PE, right. Coach. My grade point average was good. So you use the 1.35 for every student, Coach?
Every private school in the state,
right,
was under the 1.35. That's a 1.35 multiplier that their students, if they got 1,000 students in their top 3, 9, 10, and 11th grade, then those students' total number would be multiplied by 1.35 to get their total enrollment.
And you know what, Coach? You brought up something we have not mentioned this morning. The average daily attendance is for 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. 12th is not counted because they graduate. And it's the first 20 days after Labor Day, Coach, is that right?
That's right.
And that's provided by the State Department except for private schools, and the head of schools sends that in, correct?
That is correct.
That's what I thought. Caleb, you got any questions, buddy? This is the man right here, one of the men. You good?
Yeah.
Coach, anything else we need to know? They can pretty much change anything they want in this meeting right here, can't they?
Yeah, they adjust or ask why or ask why. But the thing, they've got to realize they got to pass a reclassification statewide, not just for their district, but statewide. They got to do what's best for the state, and that staff has worked tireless hours, I'm sure, working on this. I know we did. We took Greg Brewer and others on my staff took that, and they'd bring it to me on a daily basis, and we'd look at it and adjust it, and I'd ask them to move some school here and there because it didn't make sense to do it that way. And this is what they're doing now. They're going through all the scenarios that they can possibly look at and try to get it right.
Coach, I've been with you. Coach Washburn's been a guest host on my show On the Mark for 16 years. We've been longtime friends, and I've been involved with the HSA on media level for quite some time. Explain the model that separates these schools. I try to tell our listeners, you put all the 1A schools on the state of Alabama. You can't draw a cross and get them all 4 quadrants, can you, Coach? You have to explain that.
No, it's by, you do it by enrollment, and then what Mark is talking about is when you put them in regions. When you take them in regions, and you put one region it won't be congruent to the other region, or you'd have to take a school out of the north, and usually what happens, especially in 3A, you always had to bring schools out of the north to the south region to make the numbers. You try to put 8 teams in each region, which would for playoff purposes is what that's for to make it equally efficient for playoffs. So that's what happens with that, and then you get some discrepancies because you just can't get it done just like you want. Like Mark said, you can't. That's right. They work. They had. We didn't work with computers as much as Steve did. But coming on, they got a computer model that they use now to try to select those, get those schools equally distributed.
Coach, we're showing you a portrait right there that sits in the room, the boardroom. There he is, folks. Dan Washburn right there. That's a good-looking portrait, Coach.
Oh, Lordy, don't look at that.
Yeah, sir. Let me tell you something, Coach. We appreciate you being with us. We've got some movement in the HSAA, but thank you for being with us, Coach. We appreciate what you do. God bless you. Merry Christmas, Coach Washburn.
Merry Christmas to all y'all. Thank you for calling.
Yes, sir. That's Dan Washburn. What a prince of a gentleman. Class act. We got some movement now. We got to.
It's more movement than we've seen all morning.
I'm going to mosey on down my call here, Caleb.
Hey, I'm excited about it now. They've got me pumped up seeing all these people people walking out. So
yeah, no, I can't answer all these texts. But
I know.
I don't know anything.
We're in the same boat.
No,
so.
Ben Thomas, I don't know anything. So, and we figure it's going to be 11:30 from what I was told from.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a little sooner. But
no, they're taking a break. What was that?
So you're looking at the HSA office there, and here's some other shots there from
around the Hall of Fame there.
HSA office, yeah.
Now that, folks, let me tell you something. Halcyon Drive, there's the man right there to the left. That's the National High School Sports Hall of Fame, Alabama High School Hall of Fame. I'm a proud member of the selection committee. Make sure I say selection committee. But what an incredible Hall of Fame there in the office of Halcyon Drive in Montgomery. If you hadn't been there and you love high school football, go by there. You see Coach Griffin there. Goodness, at the names, Steve Giddens, inducted in 2023. Oh yeah, this is this year's class. There's Homer Davis Jr. that just went in. That they're showing you. There's that guy that wears that hoodie there. I don't know. That's not a real good picture of Coach Benefield. We need a hoodie on that one.
Yeah, he looks a little different there with the shirt and tie on.
He don't wear a tie much. I got to get the hoodie picture. There's a second level with the high school coaches, athletic directors suites, and there more Hall of Fame memorabilia upstairs. Beautiful headquarters in Montgomery of the HSA that's paid for. There's the ground level there as you walk in, and there's the plaques of the Hall of Fame. There's a spiral staircase, and right through those double doors, that's where they are, right there, that hall. There's the outside look. There it is. Beautiful shot this morning. There they are. Beautiful shot right there on Halcyon Drive. Great headquarters, a lot of work that I think Coach Washburn or Coach Sav, I can't remember who did that right there. I think it was Coach Sav, maybe. That Coach Savage, that he's going to kill me for not knowing that. I think he was the one that moved in that building, got it paid for out of Montgomery. So
it is a super nice place there. I mean, you can't, you want somebody like the HSA to have a good headquarters to do stuff out of, to have meetings at. Obviously we do the Kickoff Classic, media conference from there every single year in that room that they're meeting in right now, and they've done a good job. We talked about how much the coverage of high school sports has gotten better, and some of it is due to having a building like that right there, having a place to be able to do media stuff in, to have meetings in, to do all the different types of things that we do here with the HSA. And so look, it's getting close to time here. We've had people moving there in and out of the double doors, and maybe starting to kind of wrap things up there and be able to give us some information, and we'll be able to pass along that information to all you guys. I know that you guys have been, waiting, very, very intently here. And look, we've been waiting too. We were excited about it when both me and D-Mark showed up this morning. It's what we were talking about. I mean, we were excited to get in here and figure out who's going to be moving around and what's going to be new. Obviously some of this competitive balance, and who's going to be moving up from some of these recent state championships in volleyball and cross country and football and all these different sports here in the wintertime. So should be a lot of fun, and really looking forward to having that information, being able to give it out to all you people here soon. So we're going to step aside again here real quick, and when we come back, we'll hopefully have a little bit more information on when we'll be releasing all the classifications and all the different regions, and all that information right there. So stay tuned for more right here with the HSA TV network.
You think this is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer.
Yeah, Manor brand air conditioners are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA.
Can a 10-minute oil change really get your car taken care of the right way? When you take your car to the shop for an oil change, wouldn't it be nice to know that it was inspected to make sure it's truly safe for your next 3,000 to 5,000 miles? Don't let 10 minutes cost you way more than time. Get your car taken care of the right way at Wright Tire and Service in Sylacauga.
Getting it done the right way.
Sylacauga. We are your hometown dealer. 3 locations: Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan. Avoid big city prices. Shop local and save with 0% financing. 0%. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. We even offer mobile service, or we can pick up and deliver. No charge. Lower prices, better service. We are your hometown dealer. Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan, right here in Sylacauga.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. I'm definitely embarrassed to smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life because it made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. I just want to say thank you.
You can be you again with mini dental implants. I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
I'm more than happy. I'm ecstatic.
This is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Amana brand gas furnaces are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA. So this baby is true red, white, and blue.
Welcome back to the 65th annual AHSAA North-South game, in which we saw the North be beat on a last-second field goal. 31-28 was the final score, with the South finding a way to come back and defeat the North. It was back and forth. The South did not have the lead until the last couple of minutes of this game, Coach, and I know that it was just a tremendously played contest. The coaches did a wonderful job. The players did a wonderful job. Even though we had an injury in the first quarter in which someone had to go out on the stretcher, it didn't curtail the finish of this game.
Well, hopefully that guy, he'll be okay, and I'm sure they'll get him where they need to go. But it was fun watching these guys that we've heard about, the Nick Clarks, the Fluff Bothwells from Adiana. You know, we've heard about them, everybody in the South, in the North, but to watch them actually compete and to compete at the level that these guys compete at today was it was just awesome. And to be a part of it and to watch those guys compete, and those guys are going to be successful to the next level because you can tell they love to play the game and they love to play it at a high level.
And that's exactly what we saw, the game be played at a high level. 31-28. As you look at the first half highlights coming your way, you see McCreary from Montgomery Catholic picked off by Gordo's defender in the back of the end zone, and Josh Flowers tries to answer, and that one is intercepted as well. And you look at Fleff Bothwell being tackled in the open field by Brandon Purifoy. He had a solid defensive game, and the turnovers by the South led to points by the North, as Floyd from Hewitt-Trussville is able to score some points off of turnovers, and they let him dance and celebrate. Nick Clark, he dashes to the end zone untouched to get the South on the board as well. And you see the special teams miscue there, and it's interesting to see the special teams actually won the football game after giving up points as well. The exact same call that we saw a fumble on, we saw Hall from Booker T. Washington running into the end zone. And then the second half highlights didn't disappoint. We're at 14 apiece. Fluff Bothwell bounces to the outside, puts the North back on top, 21-14. Then we see Nick Clark score his second touchdown in bulldozing fashion, bashes over defenders and finds his way into the end zone, 21 apiece. And then we were looking to see the North try to bounce back, but no, the South get on the board. You see Hall again with another catch from Booker T. Washington, and here's the field goal that to win it all. And this is a huge 31-28 win, and it was a great night here in Mobile, Alabama. The 65th annual did not disappoint. Terry Curtis and Corey LeBounty bringing you the 65th annual AHSAA Final, 31-28. Thanks for joining us.
You deserve a bonus. Get a new 55-inch 4K TV Now at Sarah Nissan, 3 locations. Buy or lease any new Sarah Nissan and get a new 55-inch 4K TV, no charge. Event pricing on every new Nissan. 0% financing for 60 months and make 0 payments till next year. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. So come get your bonus at Sarah Nissan in Birmingham and Sylacauga. Plus, Tony Sarah Nissan in Coleman.
There's a lot in life to smile about. Are loose dentures or missing teeth keeping you from enjoying the things you love? Don't miss out on enjoying life's precious moments. You can be you again with affordable mini dental implants. You can smile again, laugh out loud, and have your self-confidence back. Let us help you make it memorable.
I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Alabama. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the AHSAA.
For almost 10 years, there's been the go-to place for tires and automotive repair, Right Tire. Right Tire sells all makes of tires for anyone's vehicle and anyone's budget, and with Right Tire, you always get the right prompt service with the right price. Right Tire also can handle all of your bumper-to-bumper automotive needs with certified brake service, alignment, oil changes, tune-ups, and so much more. So when you want tires and automotive done right, see Right Tire on West Fort Williams in the heart of Sylacauga. Right work, right price, every time.
It's a final here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. The Alabama All-Stars defeat the Mississippi All-Stars 26-17 as you see Ben Blackman hoisting up that championship trophy that is going back to the Montgomery office here, signifying Alabama with the win. Coach, it's been a great day of action here in Hattiesburg. The rain held off. We were able to complete this game, and what a great win for the state of Alabama.
Big-time win. Great atmosphere today. Great players. Loved having the band and the cheerleaders here, and just a great venue for high school football. Love to see these guys play so well on a big platform. And when you break down this game, 26-17, our final overall, 74 rushing yards to 62 for Mississippi, 310 passing yards to 220 for Mississippi, 384 total yards of offense, 282 for Mississippi. The first downs were in favor of Mississippi because of their long drives. Yards per possession, 4.2 yards to 6.6. That's the explosiveness that we're talking about. 5 turnovers is really the difference in today's contest. Yeah, explosive plays and turnovers were the difference in the game today, man. Ryan Williams, huge plays, turnovers by Drake Kirkpatrick. Huge day for both those guys. Really solid football on both sides. I'll tell you, that's a really tough thing in these all-star games, limited amount of time. Both teams executed at a pretty high level. And you saw Jamarian Burnett punching in for Alabama, and then you see the quarterback walking in for Mississippi and Trey Petty, and then striking back, Gagliano hits Hollywood Williams for a nice long touchdown, hits him in stride. Hollywood decides to take that dive, and then you see a field goal as well coming in that allowed the Mississippi All-Stars to get 3 points there. And then Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. does a great job of making an open field strip, recovers the fumble, returns it down to about the 20-yard line. He had a busy day from an interception standpoint, and a great fade route to Hollywood Williams from Jaron Hollins. And you see Alabama get on the board at the end of the first half. Second half action, you see
Once again, Drake Kirkpatrick, 4 yards in the end zone with a ricochet interception. Recovers his own fumble there. Alabama holds him off. And then you see Gagliano with the long ball to Simmons from Benjamin Russell. Hits him in stride. You see the breakaway speed Auburn's going to be getting next season as Simmons is able to get in. 26-17, our final. Alabama over the Mississippi All-Stars in this 37th annual edition.
So there's a look again at the doors. We saw some movement here recently, so hoping that that means that we're going to get some information sent our way here soon so that we can start getting this out there to all you guys and seeing who's going to be playing who and who's going to have to get through what regions.
I think we're fixing there was our central border control, mug shots as I call them, not really. All right, let's see. Well, I know a lot of them. I'm scared I'll miss them. I see Terry Curtis. I see Coach Trina Smith. I see Dr. Seymour down on the left. Albert Wheaton, second row, bottom second to the right. I got to go see Mike Welch, president right there. I can't get a good view where I'm at, but there they are. That's the group, Damon Garth there, and the group, there they are. There's good faces of all those gentlemen and ladies. That group right there, those young ladies and young men right there, or older men and young ladies, are meeting inside. There's Dr. Seymour, Albert Wheaton there from Lochapoka. Mr. Mike Welch, the president, with glasses right there. I got a glare there when I couldn't see who that was. There's Luke Hallmark. There's Coach Trina McKenzie Smith, and the man right there, Terry Curtis, the Godfather, as I call him. Good man. Well, they're in there meeting right there, Caleb.
Yeah, still waiting.
Let's drop a mic in there.
Yeah,
I know them all.
We'd have it all figured out by now if we had that. So
hey, they're doing what they do. We probably came on a little early, but
no, and you know, I know it's frustrating for some people watching. I mean, you know, it's frustrating for us because we would love to have all the information, but we also want to make sure that we do this right. We want to make sure that there's no reason to come back later on and you know, have to redo anything, all that type of stuff. And so there's a lot that goes into doing this right. And I think. You know, Coach Washburn said it earlier. He said it's 415 teams that we have to talk about and worry about. And all. I mean, that's a lot of teams, a lot of different areas, and it's not like you can just take this list. You know, it'd be easy if you just went in and said, all right, here's this list. Here's 64. These 8, they're close to each other. Boom. These 8, they're close. But it just doesn't work as easy as that does. It seems like it does. But with what we've talked about earlier with the competitive balance, the private schools and their numbers having to be different, all of that combined into it, there's a lot of work that has to go into trying to sort all of this out. And people have to think, I mean, you know, I've seen some people on social media saying, why didn't they meet over the weekend? Well, they were in Hattiesburg on Saturday. You know, they were in Mobile on Friday for the North-South game. So there's a lot that these folks have to go through and do, and they have to be in different places. And they spent the week in Tuscaloosa last week to then this week have to be down there. I mean, somebody had to be at the practices in Hattiesburg all week, and so you have different AHSA members that have to go down there. So it's a lot more than just sitting in that nice AHSA headquarters every single day and twiddling their thumbs. These guys have a lot of stuff going on.
And prior to that, swimming and diving championship. Yeah. You had cross country. You had volleyball. What am I missing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the month of November on into the early part of December.
And the North-South game. So a lot going on. And, you know, they met this morning. We knew it might not be ready at 9:30 when we came on air, but we wasn't sure. But I expect here shortly we should have something. I keep getting information. Seems like they are. I think they went to a little recess there and we saw them moving around. But, you know, we talked about, I think I just heard Coach Washburn say they were going to do football and get it out. You have fall classification, and there's a difference between region and areas. And we saw a vote recently where they moved basketball and baseball to region, came back and reversed it back, and said they'd make a committee to look at it. So there's another issue outside of reclassification with basketball, your winter and your fall, spring sports. Do you stay region or state area, or do you go region?
Yeah, no, that's going to be interesting to follow as well, because as you said, they made that decision and then came back and took it back and said they needed to do more research into it, all that type of stuff. And so, that part could change some things as well for some of these sports.
And what we're talking about is when you have an area, it's usually 3 to 4 to 5 teams, and you have that area and other areas. A region is a larger group. So in football, you have regions. If you take, and we had this years ago, so you take the region in Mobile in 7A, that region, what we're talking about, they play right there together, all those teams. So it'll be interesting to see how all this comes out. And you were talking about the schools, they're not all together. I mean, you may not have them in 4 parts of the state. Some may be together. You got to go. Coach Walter mentioned some north, some south. We talked about Lynette. You just never know.
Yeah.
And you were talking about models a while ago. Do they really know the average daily attendance for the first 20 days? I don't know. They may, Caleb.
Well, and then how, you got Lafayette Valley that's about to combine into one school. We talked about Carver and Sidney Lanier. I mean, so how do you do the attendance for those places and combine them into
one? Well, now Valley and Lafayette are not combining right now.
Okay.
So they are separate in this group. Now, the Montgomery team school is. So
when is Valley and Lafayette combining?
They're waiting until the school gets built. So we don't have a definitive date yet.
So there's no definitive date for those two. But that is going, as of now, that's happening.
Yes, they have agreed that the school will be built in Valley, right next to the Sportsplex, right next to their stadium. So they have agreed on that. I think they're going to wait till the school gets built before they actually consolidate. And what we're talking about is Valley High School and Lafayette High School will combine into one. And that'd probably be a 7A school too, I would expect.
It's going to be an athletic power too.
I would think so. I would think so.
They're going to be pretty good when those two schools combine. So, look, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how all this shapes out. We mentioned Carver, Sidney Lanier, they're combining into one, and then you're going to have kids from Lanier that choose not to go to Carver maybe and end up at JAG, end up at Percy Julian, maybe even move out and end up at interesting. So Troy made a new hire.
Yeah, it looks like a little information coming out of Troy to announce their head football coach, according to Pete Thamel. And if Pete Thamel says it,
normally try.
Is right. Gerald Parker, the Notre Dame offensive coordinator, will be the next coach at Troy.
Something about that Notre Dame offense coordinator to the state of Alabama.
Interesting, isn't it?
Right now, so it's interesting. So
Pete Thamel made that at 10:56. Caleb.
And that's big news for a lot of our athletes that could be watching this right now and stuff as well that are out of school. There's a lot of kids from the state of Alabama that are committed to Troy, committed to John Summerall. And we're probably looking to see who Troy was going to be hiring next as their new head coach. And so that's big news for a lot of those guys. We'll have a ton of guys from the state of Alabama and part of this recruiting class that'll be heading down to Troy to go and play football and try to continue, what's been built there over the last couple of years, really from when Neil Brown was there on into now and what they've been able to do as a program.
Oh, no doubt. I have a couple of good close friends on that staff. Coach Caleb Ross is a good friend of mine. It'll be interesting to see what Coach wants to do or will do. So interesting to see what happens at Troy. We're waiting on reclassification to come out of that meeting right there with the Central Board of Control with the Alabama High School Athletic Association, and we're patiently waiting, Caleb, and I'm getting some information, but it's not much, buddy.
Yeah, and I've seen on social media there's a couple of leaks and stuff out there. Make sure that you understand that if you see a leak, it could be true, it could not be true. We don't really know. So, take those with a grain of salt. I've seen a couple of them already that have been posted out there, and I don't know how people are getting this information. I don't know if they hacked into computers in there or whatever it is, but I have seen a few of those out there. Just make sure that you take those with a grain of salt. They're not definitive until we show it right here on the screen. That'll be the official, some people are just going off of what they think is going to happen. They know this school went, added this many students, so they're saying, oh, we're assuming they're going to move up and trying to put stuff together. And so but it is fun, and I'm, like I was saying earlier, I'm just excited that there's so many people excited about this. I mean, the way high school sports has grown. I remember being a kid 10 years ago playing and dreaming of having our games be able to be broadcasted live. And we just talked about the Super 7. It's amazing. The Super 7 has grown. The coverage of the Super 7 has grown. I mean, now you have every TV in the whole state can get it. And, it was just 5 years ago that wasn't the case. And so just even our biggest events, our baseball being up in Jacksonville and Oxford, softball moving up there, basketball at Legacy Arena, volleyball, all these sports that were never seen are now being televised, and people are able to watch those championship games. And it's just amazing how much it's grown. I've been out for 10 years now. I graduated 10 years ago. And you've got flag football being shown on TV. You've got volleyball championships. on TV. You know, softball and baseball getting put up, you know, simultaneously, and we're having side-by-side broadcasts of the two. I mean, it's within a 10-year time period. It's just amazing how much high school sports has grown, the coverage of it, and the interest of it. And I think a lot of that has to do with college has gotten a lot more professional-like with NIL, with transfer portal, with movement, things of that nature. And you mentioned it earlier, this is one of the last pure forms of sports that we still have as high school sports, and I think you're starting to see a lot more people latch onto that and latch on to cheering for their community and supporting their community.
100%, Caleb. You've got so much avenues, so many avenues to watch your favorite team, keep up with them on social media, everything, and the FHS network that are partners with the HSAA, and that brings any game right into your phone, into your den, wherever you're at. It's monumental. And then live streaming, you know, broadcasts where you can. We had soldiers. I remember when we had the Iraqi war, you know, that we get texts during the broadcast of soldiers listening. You can't begin to imagine how important that is. And promoting our sports is huge. All-star games, you know, they're good for, you know, they may not be good for everybody, but they're good for the sport and good for those that are playing, and good for the state. You know, I know a lot of people, you know, you don't get big crowds because there's only, you know, so many playing, but they are important games to those that are involved, and you should do it. And, you know, we got bowling, we got wrestling, esports. I mean, my goodness.
Wrestling's the one that's, I mean, that's a sport that's grown so much over the last couple of years, from not only from you're getting more South teams that are starting to get wrestling programs and things of that nature, but female wrestling getting involved with it as well. We've seen some girls beat some guys as well, which has been fun to see. And you know, but just the way that wrestling is growing, it's amazing. You know, I went to that event up in Huntsville a couple of years ago, and if you hadn't been to Huntsville and been to the wrestling state championships, I suggest that you go to it, because it's you got your certain programs that are there year after year, and it's cool. It's like they have it's just known. Hey, this is the Moody section. Yep. Hey, this is the Thompson section. Hey, this is the so-and-so. I mean, it's really cool how some of these places, they're there so much. I mean, speaking of being there so much, we see Fife on the screen right now.
I was just thinking about where's the hoodie section.
I'll tell you what was cool watching Fife walk out last week is you could tell their players just walked out and just, hey, this is expected. We expect to be here. We expect to be on this stage. And it's that way with some of these wrestling programs. They get to Huntsville, they already know they're going to be there before the year. They might as well have their fans just stay in the same section all the way into the next year when we have it going on. And then you've got 6 different matches going on at one time out there on the floor. Really, really cool thing. And so you'll have that coming up at the end of January, beginning of February up there in Huntsville. If you have a chance to get up to that, I suggest going and checking that out, because just a ton of fun. But seeing highlights again here of the Super 7, one of the best Super 7s that we've had, you know, since I've been covering them, and I've started covering them back in about 2011, 2012, when I was still a student in high school, you know, getting to do these games, Randy and Brett, the radio network, all those guys. And I thought that this past year was one of the best Super 7s we've had from a competitive standpoint. We felt like that going into it. It lived up to it. You know, we talked about that a little bit earlier, and now it's going to be interesting to see some of these teams and some of the movement. You know, I know one of the schools we talked about 7A a little bit. One of the schools that's going to be watching very, very closely today is Chelsea High School, because they're sitting right on that verge of 7A, 6A. They moved up to 7A this past time. It's a community that's been growing, but they've also had some people get out of there, and so could they drop down to 6A? That's going to be really, really interesting to watch, because they've competed really well in a couple sports. You know, girls basketball, they've done really well in girls basketball. Baseball's been really well, but then obviously on the football side, they've suffered a little bit from it. So I'm going to be interested to see how, you know, some places like them, you know, we talked earlier about Prattville. Could Prattville move from that Auburn-Opelika region to now being in that Birmingham region if some certain things happen in 7A and force things to move around? And so that's what's going to be a lot of fun when we get this reclassification here soon, is seeing some of those type of programs. You know, Montgomery Catholic's obviously going to move from 4A now to 5A. I mean, they played for a 3A title 4 years ago. Now they're going to be 5A due to competitive balance. And so all of that is going to be a lot of fun to watch and to look at and to see who, you know, who maybe moves up with some of these teams. You know, we saw some leaks where it had a couple of teams moving up with some of these private schools that they've been rivals together. And so when this does come out and when we're able to break it all down, it's going to be a lot of fun to really see how all this kind of works itself out, and you know, some of these new matchups, some of these really good new matchups that we're going to end up with.
I agree with you, Caleb. It is very interesting to see, and of course, smaller schools. And when you start talking about, we've talked a lot about the big schools. Your smaller schools have a lot of travel that are involved, and that hurts. Well, all classifications, travel is important. You want to keep your travel down if you can because of cost, and you want your fans to be able to go. But you take some of your larger regions, you have to travel over. Some of your regions you have to travel over 2 hours on a Friday night. That's difficult, but it's certainly something in the state of Alabama we see. Right there behind those doors is the Central Board of Control. They are meeting. They're waiting to, or they could be voting. They could have already voted. They're rehashing it. We are waiting information any second from Ron Ingram, who is. Folks ain't gonna be over here if I lose my mic, but we're waiting on Ron Ingram to release that information to me. I've been in contact with him throughout this process. So, Caleb, we're doing a good job of doing nothing.
Yes. Just waiting. It's
I think
easy
the cameraman moving the camera. I'm over here fidgeting too much. He's having to redo his camera on me over here. I move too much. But yeah, we're getting close, I think, to where we hear something. I was trying to see if I couldn't. It appears like there's nobody there that's able to talk to us on TV inside that building right there, Caleb. So I'm not sure how close we are to getting anything. When I spoke with Ron shortly, he thought it would be around 11:30 in this window. I'll see if I can't get a hold of him as we speak, Caleb. It's hard to sit here and try to guess at what we know when we don't know.
No, exactly. So,
we have contacts, but they won't talk.
Well, we appreciate all you guys that have been tuning in, staying tuned in with us right here. We know it's been a lot longer than what you were expecting. Hey, same here. So, we're in the same boat with you guys. We thought we'd have something by now. But look, like we talked about earlier, you got to be patient with this type of stuff. We want to make sure we get it done the right way because, like you talked about earlier, we did come out and announce that baseball, basketball, softball, soccer, all these sports were going to move to region sports, and then had to come back and take it back at a later date.
Right.
So, you want to make sure that you do all this right the first time around. They don't want to be coming back in February going, hey, we accidentally miscounted Blunt High School, and they're, you want to make sure you get it all right and done right the first time. And so that's part of why we're having to wait here and be patient with this, but it'll be worth it. And, it's a fun day. Look, there's nothing else going on right now. A lot of people are on Christmas break. There's no school going on, any of that type of stuff. So why not keep it with us right here with the HSA TV network and find out who is going to be in what classification and what's going to be going on where.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. If we get about a 10-minute break, Caleb, I think we could, if they could give us about 10 minutes, if we're able to do that, 10 or 15, I think we could.
So it looks like we're getting close?
I'm thinking, I don't know. Depends on, I don't want to reveal too much, but I think we can take a little 10 or whatever they want to do. I think we can take 10 minutes and come back to get everybody on page. Maybe about 11:45, whatever y'all want to do. I think we might help. But I know we're winging it here, but whatever y'all want to do.
Well, hey, look, we're waiting patiently, just like all you guys are. There's a look at the doors. We need both those doors to come bust open. And have everybody come walk out like a WWE wrestler.
Yeah.
But
all right, we're gonna keep it when we come back, guys. Or we're gonna. What's the plan here before we go to break, so we can?
Yeah, so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll hopefully have some information. It looks like, you may have been told the same thing I was just told, that it looks like we're getting close here to having this done and being able to present all this to all you guys. So stay patient. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll hopefully be able to start breaking down some of this reclassification right here on the Reclassification Show Special with the HSA TV network.
For almost 10 years, there's been the go-to place for tires and automotive repair, Right Tire. Right Tire sells all makes of tires for anyone's vehicle and anyone's budget. And with Right Tire, you always get the right prompt service with the right price. Right Tire also can handle all of your bumper-to-bumper automotive needs with certified brake service, alignment, oil changes, tune-ups, and so much more. So when you want tires and automotive done right, see Right Tire on West Fort Williams in the heart of Sylacauga. Right work, right price, every time.
This is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Amana brand gas furnaces are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA. So this baby is true red, white, and blue.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Thank you for watching. We got to watch memories be made that will last a lifetime. Thank you for watching and coming along for the ride with us. Let's relive some of those memories as we say goodnight from Bryant-Denny Stadium.
There was never plan B, just a path I'm taking. Breaking on through on the road I'm making. I knew one day I'd get my shot. So here I am to give it all I got. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, cause this is the big time. This is the big time. First hit these streets, had to scratch a claw, made me heart beat. They were real had to put in the time just to get it right. Now it's time to make my stand. Gonna show the whole world just who I am. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, cause this is the big time. Ever since my boots first hit these streets, had to scratch a claw, made me hard to beat. They were real early mornings and late nights. Had to put in the time just to get it right. Now it's time to make my stand. Gonna show the whole world just who I am. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, cause this is the big time. This is the big time.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Alabama, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
For almost 10 years, there's been the go-to place for tires and automotive repair, Right Tire. Right Tire sells all makes of tires for anyone's vehicle and anyone's budget, and with Right Tire, you always get the right prompt service with the right price. Right Tire also can handle all of your bumper-to-bumper automotive needs with certified brake service, alignment, oil changes, tune-ups, and so much more. So when you want tires and automotive done right, see Right Tire on West Fort Williams in the heart of Sylacauga. Right work, right price, every time.
So there's you a look at the AHSA headquarters in Montgomery, where the meetings are taking place this morning and hopefully starting to wrap up. That's what it seems like. Some of the messages that both of us have been receiving here from some of the people that are there. Looks like things could be closing down, and we should be getting some information and having some graphics to show all you guys here soon. A lot of work has been done behind those two double doors right there at the AHSAA headquarters, and hopefully here soon we'll be letting everybody know who's going to be playing against who's going to be battling who for what region spots, and should be a lot of fun. There's going to be some very tight regions when a lot of this is said and done here.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. No, you're right about that. It'll be interesting, and like I said, when they get this done, each region will have to go have a meeting. When they'll have that meeting. I don't know if they'll have time to do it before Christmas or not, probably not, but they'll meet after break, lay out their schedule, who's home, who's away, the weeks, and then they go through and get their other schedules and they roll. So, Caleb, I'm thinking we should get it any minute. I don't know what you're hearing. I think we both getting the same thing. It was one of a lot of scenarios in their meeting, which they should. They should do diligent work. It's only done once every 2 years, Caleb. So you got to get it right, So we'll see.
And I'm sure that part of today is getting a little bit ahead for, what they're going to end up doing with the spring sports and stuff as well later on. I mean, they can go ahead and knock out some things today to make that meeting and make all that go a little bit smoother when they do the spring sports reclassification and do the different areas and things of that nature as well. And a lot of what they do today will have a determining factor on that, because a lot of times you just take a region and say, all right, these four are closer together, y'all are in an area, these four are closer together, y'all are in an area. And so that part becomes a lot easier once they get done with forming these regions and things of that nature.
No doubt about it. And your region size is important because 4 teams make the playoffs. So you don't want a short region. You know what I mean? You want it to be balanced. You want to have a good amount of teams make the playoffs, but you don't want it to be too watered down, if you know what I mean.
But I think that has been some of the coaches' concern over the last little bit, is you've had, like we talked about earlier, we've had a 9-team region, and then we've had a 6-team region, where 4 out of the 6 make it, but then 4 out of the 9 and another one make it. And, so I think that's, and that may be a little bit more of what their concern today is trying to get everything a little bit more even and a little bit more, and even in 7A, we've had a 9-team region and then a 7-team region in 7A.
You know what? That's a good point, Caleb. I forget to look at that, as you said, in those spots. That is a valid, those coaches are right. 2 teams gets left out, 5 teams get left out. So, but they have a hard job. Those people at the Central Board of Control have, because it's not an exact science, because again, you got 7 classifications. All the schools are across different parts of the Alabama, and you have to find north and south, and you have to divide them up as equally as possible. And so that's what that task is doing. After they get it all and get all the numbers down, then they have to, after they go the top 32 and go down all the way to 1A, then they have to divide them up. So it's a tedious process. Computers are involved. Can you imagine before computers how they did that? Coach Washburn and them. Wow. A lot of talented young folks in that office staff that did that. So
it's like I saw somewhere did you know that for a long time it was like in the 70s till computers really started getting bigger and stuff, there was a couple that did all the Major League Baseball schedules.
No, I did not know
They literally sat down, and it was a man and a woman, they're together, and they sat down and did all the Major League Baseball schedules and then would give them to Major League Baseball and they'd check them, and that's how they did it for a long time before computers and being able to put in these algorithms and things of that nature.
Somebody had to do it, Caleb. You had to write it down. You couldn't put it in your iPad or put it on your iPhone or put it in the computer. You had to figure out some way to do it.
Better than me. So
really.
I'll use the computer.
So. I'd much rather use the computer. You know what I mean? So we're still waiting on reclassification. So they're right there behind that door. But we can't get down there to them, Caleb.
I wish we could.
Oh, I could,
we could just bust on in there and say, hey, look, just give us what you got. How about that?
Yeah, I still don't have any
maybe if they have 1 through 5A done, we can go ahead and grab those and start putting those out there.
Yeah,
We're starving the same way all you viewers out there are starving for this as well. Look, we're excited about this. I mean, we're both high school sports fans.
Absolutely.
I mean,
my job is centered around. Well, yours is too.
Exactly.
My job is centered around high school sports.
We get as excited about this type of stuff as everybody else does out there as well. I've been looking forward to this. I had a lot of different people ask me questions and about if I knew when this was happening and all that. And I didn't know. When I thought back on it, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that we kind of changed it up a little bit and did it where we did the winter and then the spring now instead of just doing it all at one time. But I had people reaching out to me a couple of weeks ago saying, hey, do you know when people are excited about this and people want to know and we're excited about it as well. This has a lot to do with our sports and with certain programs and the type of success that they're going to have. We talked about Coach Benefield and Fife. There's been rumors that they could move up to 3A because of their student body there and that type of stuff. And so how does that change things for them? And it's just going to be a lot of fun to see how all this works itself out and what ends up coming of this and how it changes the landscape of sports here in our state for the next 2 years.
Yeah, we failed to mention the team moving up. Mobile Christian's another one moving up. 4 member AISA schools, Lee Scott, Glenwood, Talga, moving over to join the HSA, so they'll be waiting to, and Pike Lib, waiting on to see.
Yeah, Pike Lib's been in the HSA the last 2 years, but they haven't been eligible to play for a championship in football, and so that'll be really good for them because they've been playing 5A, 6A, anybody they can find.
Making up a schedule. Yeah. You're right on that.
It's been tough for them. I know they're excited to finally get a classification and be able to play teams around their area. And it should be a fun area down there when you talk about GW Long and Ayrton and all those different places. So, Pike Lib has obviously had a ton of success in AISA, had a ton of success from a baseball standpoint with what they did and then making the move over. And they had some good success their first 2 years, or last year in baseball. Now this year will be the second year for them in baseball. Got to the second round a year ago. But you look at a lot of these private schools and the move that they've made over, and I said it earlier, I mean, nobody's made the move as well as, and from a football standpoint, as well as Tuscaloosa Academy has really over the last 2 years, moving over, having the type of success that they've had, and, being able to get to where they've gotten to, playing in the third round of the playoffs and, running into Pisgah a year ago there. So, it's been fun to watch some of these teams make that move, and I expect for all 4 that we have moving over here with Talga, Pickens, Lee Scott and Glenwood obviously making this move. They're going to have a lot of success, and I think Lee Scott and Glenwood have a chance to come over in multiple sports, make a lot of noise very, very early in their AHSA tenure, which should be a lot of fun. And, both those have great areas to pick kids from, get kids in from. Lee Scott right there in that Auburn, Beauregard, Opelika area. And then Glenwood's right there in the middle of Phoenix City, Russell County, all those places down there as well. So going to be very interesting to see where they end up. And if Glenwood and Lee Scott stay together, we talked about it earlier there with Dr. Cox. And, it's 2 schools that they have a good rivalry. It's a friendly rivalry, but it's a good rivalry with each other. And then, as somebody who grew up around that area and has seen those 2 programs play a lot, I hope that it does work out for them 2 to stay together and be able to play against each other going forward, because it's really good for those 2 programs, those 2 schools down there. So still waiting on those double doors to bust open and for us to have our reclassification finished where we can present it to all you guys. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about things around the HSA and waiting for the reclassification to be done here so that we can present it to all you guys right here with the HSA TV network.
You think this is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Yeah, Manor brand air conditioners are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA.
Can a 10-minute oil change really get your car taken care of the right way? When you take your car to the shop for an oil change, wouldn't it be nice to know that it was inspected to make sure it's truly safe for your next 3,000 to 5,000 miles? Don't let 10 minutes cost you way more than time. Get your car taken care of the right way at Wright Tire and Service in Sylacauga.
Getting it done the right way.
Sylacauga, we are your hometown dealer. 3 locations, Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan. Avoid big city prices, shop local, and save with 0% financing. 0%. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. We even offer mobile service, or we can pick up and deliver. No charge. Lower prices, better service. We are your hometown dealer. Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, and Sarah Nissan, right here in Sylacauga.
I was in a car accident. My front tooth cracked. I'm definitely embarrassed to smile. I got mini dental implants. It changed my life because it made me feel like me. Like I can smile and feel like Ashley. I just want to say thank you.
You can be you again with mini dental implants. I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
I'm more than happy. I'm ecstatic.
This is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Amana brand gas furnaces are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA. So this baby is true red, white, and blue.
So there's a look at the double doors, the famous double doors. Starting to see that picture pop up all over social media. Been some funny memes and things like that people have come up with, but hopefully here soon, going to have some of the reclassification information out, and we appreciate everybody staying tuned in and right here with us with the AHSA TV network as we prepare for the reclassification and some of these teams that we'll be finding out if they're moving or not. And, you know, then you got, as we talked about, some of these private schools that are moving over from AISA to AHSA that we'll be kind of figuring out what regions they're going to be in, what areas they're going to be in, who they'll be competing against to try to come in and make some early noise here in the AHSAA and see if they can make that move from AISA to AHSA and go hold up one of those blue maps.
Yeah, I left out Pickens County a while ago when I was bringing up AISA teams that moved over. I left them out. I didn't mean to do that. We're not looking at paperwork in front of us because we were trying to keep it clear to not get confused to when we get this year's. Now, this is 2 years classification, so this would be for the 2024 school year all the way to the 2025 and then 25-26. Yep. So the next 2 school years, doesn't matter anything about this year as far as school year, but next fall, what we show you today will come into play.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'm glad that you brought that up because it's one thing that we want to make sure that people know is what we show today will have nothing to do with this spring. You know, it has no effect on this baseball, softball, golf, you know, any of that type of stuff. None of those seasons will be affected by what we talk about today. It'll start next fall when volleyball, football, cross country, all those pick back up. That's where what we talk about today, the classifications and stuff today, that's where that will come into effect, will be next year. And so what you're really kind of finding out a lot of today, while you won't have dates, you're going to find out at least for most regions, you're going to find out 7 of your team's football games here today, you know, with what region that you get in, things of that nature, and just who you're going to be competing against for a championship going forward, you know, what champions are moving up and down. We talked about some different private schools. Obviously, Mobile Christian will move up from 3 to 4A. Due to the success they've had in 3A, Montgomery Catholic will move up from 4A to 5A due to the success they've had. Coosa Christian's another one that will move up from 1A to 2A, made in semifinals and then the finals there the last 2 years in 1A. So that's what we're kind of finding out a lot about today, but it will have nothing to do, it won't affect basketball season at all this year. It won't affect your spring baseball, softball, tennis, golf. You know, any of those soccer, none of those sports, none of that is affected by what we're talking about here today, but just the future and, you know, what's going to be going on in the next 2 years here in the AHSAA. That's what we're finding out about here today, and a lot of people are tuned in and looking forward to finding out along with us, D-Mark. So excited to hopefully get some information here soon, be able to pass that along. And as we talked about earlier, you know, we're going to find out when all you guys find out. So, I mean, very similar to, I know a lot of people watch the college football playoff selection show. Those guys don't find out until those graphics pop up on the screen, and we're kind of in the same boat here today, and we wanted it that way. I mean, it'll be an authentic reaction by both of us here when we see some of this, and there's going to be some surprises, and there's going to be some, you know, ooh, okay, you know, some of those type of moments when we see some of these matchups.
They are. I would have liked to know them to have been more prepared, but no, you're right. It's impossible. And look, we knew it would be a little while. We just didn't know the time, and you want to be on air to get it out when they finish. I know some people are frustrated. We haven't. They're doing their job and we're trying to do ours.
Yeah.
So there's no time ticking away. Although we wanted to hurry up, but they got to get it right. So we'll keep doing it. But yeah, you did. There's so much involved here, and again, you've got 7 classifications. I think I heard Coach say this morning. When they moved, think about when they moved from 6A to 7A.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big deal.
So it is going to be interesting in the future. We've talked about some of these teams that are moving from AISA to the AHSA now, and the AISA is getting smaller and smaller. AHSA is starting to grow, and that's going to be something in the next 5 to 10 years, I would say, that I'm going to be watching very, very closely is the movement of these AISA schools coming to AHSA and how that affects both of these different organizations and what happens in the future for both the AISA and AHSA as the AHSA continues to grow, continues to add more teams. And, is it something where we see everybody under one umbrella in the future? That'll be something interesting to watch.
Oh, there's no doubt. You hit on something right there. I think before COVID, maybe there were talks, I think Coach Salvarez mentioned, with the 2 entities, AISA and to the AHSAA. And so, but it does appear that way. I know AISA added 8-man football, which was a good move for them. So that will be something to see. There was another school that applied for membership, withdrew that membership application to the AHSA this year and pulled back and stayed in the AISA. So it will be something to see if the 2 entities can survive. I think there's a place for both. I hope there is, but because we have a lot of children in the state that need to play sports. So if they can't be under one umbrella, I hope it works out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So should be very interesting to monitor and to watch here over the next couple of years and see, what other AISA schools maybe decide to make the same move, or if there's any schools that make the move and then say, hey, we want to go back to the other side.
They can go back. Yeah, you mentioned that, Caleb, that we've not seen one that I know of, and I don't think we will, but I'm not a genie in the bottle. We only have one God, and I don't know that answer, but more opportunities, it seems like, as we heard from Dr. Cox. Although some of these schools are going to the AHSA, they still have their activities with the AISA, so it's kind of a split deal there. But we're still waiting on the reclassification. You see the split screen with the double door. Hopefully we'll come out and we'll see pictures and say, we're done.
Yeah, big celebrations. Everybody comes walking out of them double doors. So we're going to take another break here, and we'll continue waiting, continue monitoring, and hopefully have something for all you guys here in the next little bit. We were told by some people that we should have something here shortly, but that was a little bit longer than shortly ago.
That was shortly ago, yeah.
So we're still waiting ourselves here. So we'll take a break, and we'll be back with more right after this.
You deserve a bonus. Get a new 55-inch 4K TV now at Sarah Nissan. 3 locations. Buy or lease any new Sarah Nissan and get a new 55-inch 4K TV, no charge. Event pricing on every new Nissan. 0% financing for 60 months and make 0 payments till next year. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. So come get your bonus at Sarah Nissan in Birmingham and Sylacauga. Plus, Tony Sarah Nissan in Coleman.
There's a lot in life to smile about. Are loose dentures or missing teeth keeping you from enjoying the things you love? Don't miss out on enjoying life's precious moments. You can be you again with affordable mini dental implants. You can smile again, laugh out loud, and have your self-confidence back. Let us help you make it memorable.
I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Alabama. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the AHSAA.
For almost 10 years, there's been the go-to place for tires and automotive repair, Right Tire. Right Tire sells all makes of tires for anyone's vehicle and anyone's budget, and with Right Tire, you always get the right prompt service with the right price. Right Tire also can handle all of your bumper-to-bumper automotive needs with certified brake service, alignment, oil changes, tune-ups, and so much more. So when you want tires and automotive done right, see Right Tire on West Fort Williams in the heart of Sylacauga. Right work, right price, every time.
So there's you another look at the outside of the AHSA headquarters there in Montgomery, where the meeting's taking place today. They are sorting everything out there with the board and trying to get all this reclassification stuff finalized so that these coaches can go ahead and start making their schedules for next year and getting everything planned out. And we can kind of know which classifications are going to have certain regions that have different numbers, things of that nature. We've talked about that throughout the day. You're going to, and it will affect when those regions have more. It then in turn has it where those basketball regions have 5 teams in it instead of 4 teams. If it's a 9-team region or, that time. I mean, you have some 8-team regions where it makes more sense for these 5 to be in an area and then these 3 to be in an area, and you have a 5-team and a 3-team area. And so, a lot of different stuff that they have to work out with each other. On all this different stuff, and so that's what has led to them taking so long. We got a good breakdown from Mr. Washburn earlier, who is a part of a lot of these meetings or has been a part of a lot of these meetings and knows what goes on in these rooms. And there's a process that they have to stick to. When you have an organization like this and they do these meetings and they do all this different stuff, there's a process they have to stick to with somebody presenting something, saying it, everybody else having to back it, they vote on it. It's more than just everybody sitting in the room just going, hey, we're going to do this. Okay, sounds good. There's a lot that goes into them having to vote on all this. You see some more action going on right outside the door there.
I miss that, Caleb. What do we have, buddy?
We just had somebody walk by. But hey, look, it's more action than we've seen throughout other times of the day. So that's exciting for us here.
Yeah.
When we just see somebody walking by the door. But a lot of stuff going on there at the AHSA building today, and we're just patiently waiting to see if we can reveal some of this stuff and see how some of this is going to work itself out. But I'm excited about it. I know you're excited about it. I know we have a lot of people that are tuning in that are excited about it. And so we appreciate all you guys being patient with us here and, staying tuned in this whole entire time as we get closer and closer to hopefully being able to reveal these, classifications, these regions, and start getting things set up for the next 2 years of sports here in the state.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Big day, and they're in a big meeting right now. I think we're getting reports that maybe, and I don't want to say that anymore. We've gotten reports all morning that hadn't been right. So
yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, big morning. I think would be redundant not to say it again. But the Central Board of Control is in session right now, meeting reclassification. They also have another, items that could be on the agenda today that they go over, Caleb, that they got to, get in their meeting. So I really don't know what's going on right now. We've gotten a couple of bit of information, so we'll see what plays out here in the next few minutes, Caleb, as the Alabama High School Athletic Association Central Board of Control behind closed doors meeting. Reclassification is coming up on the big end for fall, mainly football and the fall classifications, and then we'll have winter and spring after this. We're in the middle of the winter sports now, so it'll be very interesting when this meeting is over. I know a lot of people are, saying, hey, why so long? Well, we were not given an exact time frame, so I don't want anybody to think they said, hey, 9:30, we're going to have you ready. That was not the case. We knew it would be a little bit. We were just kind of hoping it'd be sooner.
We just didn't think it'd be this long. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's what I've seen some people on social media that have kind of been bashing the AHSA.
No, don't do that.
Things of that nature, and it's not their fault. They didn't give us a time and say, hey, at 9:30, this is going to be done, and y'all need to be ready to have a show. We just kind of went on. They said, hey, we normally get done around this time. We wanted to make sure that we were on live, ready to feed it to you guys, and it's just kind of worked out this way where we're sitting here 2.5 hours in and still haven't gotten everything. That's just a chance you take sometimes when you go live in these type of situations. So it's not their fault. They didn't give us a hard deadline at 9:30 and say, hey, at 9:30 we're going to have this done and y'all should be ready to go. We elected to go on at this time and to be prepared for whenever they were ready to give them out. And it just so happens that we guessed the wrong time. And so, we've been on here talking for 2 hours. But it's fun to talk about AHSA sports. It's fun to talk about, and we've been able to cover a lot more than just football and what's been going. You know, football gets a lot of the attention, and we're in a football state. There's no secret about that, but. You've had a lot of other sports that have grown a lot over the last, couple of years, and you're starting to really see some different sports make the rise. And to me, basketball is right there at the top when you look at Legacy Arena and what that place is like every single year now for the finals up there. We're seeing basketball grow as a whole because of what Alabama, Auburn, Troy, Jacksonville State, UAB, all these places that have made, conference tournaments, things of that nature. But just high school basketball in the state itself has gotten better. It's created a better product there at Legacy Arena. And I think to me that I look at that as football is going to get all the attention, but you got basketball there who's starting to grow and starting to become one of those. You talked about revenue sports. Basketball's becoming one of those revenue sports here in the state.
What is it, about an 8-day tournament now? Didn't it go over 8 or 9 days? They have there and do such a good job with it. Birmingham Tip-Off Club and that group. I think that's the first big group that helped the AHSA. So I hear some movement outside our studio. I don't know if that means anything, but we're waiting patiently. We appreciate y'all waiting with us. I appreciate all.
We're as antsy as everybody else is out there.
Yeah, so. Cujo's antsy too, so we're all antsy in here. Oh, they're coming in. We're about to put them up, folks. So here we go.
Hey, we finally got some good news here this morning. So
I told you I was going to get it, Caleb. I was going to go in there and bust them up. I had to go in there and put the hoodoo on them.
Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, and we're going to kind of organize. Okay, never mind. We're going to stay live. Never mind. All right.
Don't you go to break, Caleb. We've been waiting too long.
Right here then, yeah.
So, all right, we're getting live.
We've played enough commercials here today. They've gotten their money's worth.
See me read all my texts from, no. So when you... Momentarily, they're telling us, hold on, let me get it right here. What's they having? No, I'm just kidding. Momentarily, our producers, there we go. Region 1, Caleb. All right. Take it away. 1A.
So we have got 1A, and we have got Region 1 here in 1A ready to show you guys. And so looking at 1A, Region 1, Sweetwater High School, Southern Choctaw High School, Leroy High School, Milry, Fruitdale, McIntosh, Marengo, and J.F. Shields High School. That'll be your Region 1 and 1A there. Should be an action-packed region there. You got Sweetwater, who's obviously a power, and then Leroy, who's won the last 2 1A state championships and did it this year in crazy fashion with their coach being shipped off to go and perform military duty, and they survived all of that, and they're on a current, I think it's 22-game winning streak right now at Leroy there from a football standpoint.
And God bless him for representing our country.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Really, really cool story there from Leroy. So you got your defending 1A champs, back-to-back defending 1A champs sitting right there in Region 1. But they're going to have their work cut out with them with a couple of those teams. Milry has been very good here over the last couple of years. Sweetwater, they're a power down there and has won multiple state championships there as well. Marengo, J.F. Shields. So that should be a very fun region there with those two, or with that classification, or with that region there. In Region 1A. 1A has been very competitive here over the last couple of years, and got to give Leroy a lot of credit for what they've been able to do. I mean, I may be wrong on that. I think Milry's their only loss over the last 2 years. So,
yeah, looking at that. All right, look at that group right there. Milry, last year's region, Milry, Leroy, Choctaw County, Southern Choctaw, McIntosh, Fruitdale, and J.F. Shields. You see Marengo is now in there, which is new. Who else in there as I'm looking off my phone? Southern Choctaw High School. No, they were in there. McIntosh is still in there. Fruitdale and J.F. Shields. And so there's Region 1. All right, coming up on Region 2 and Class 1A. These are being revealed. You will see them as we see them. This is coming live from, here we go. Caleb?
So looking at Region 2, you got Georgiana, McKenzie, Florala, Red Level, Brantley, Elba, Pleasant Home, and Kinston. Another very, very good region there. When you look at Georgiana, the type of season they had this past year, Florala has been on the rise here over the last couple of years, getting better every single season. Brantley, year after year, is always right there competing. And then, Elba was right there with a chance to get to that. All they had to do was hang on there late against Leroy, and they would have been playing Coosa Christian for a state championship. And they've got a really, really good running back returning at Elba next year for his senior year in Alvin Henderson.
There you go. I think Houston, Houston County was in this region last year. Caleb, this past season, the past 2 seasons in this group. So they are now out of that group. That's Region 2 in Class 1A, Region 3 in Class 1A, about to come up on the screen. Again, we're watching the reclassifications come to you live. There you go.
So looking at Region 3, you got Choctaw County, Francis Marion, R.C. Hatch, Linden, University Charter School, Holy Spirit Catholic School there in Tuscaloosa, and Pickens Academy right there around the Tuscaloosa area as well. We've seen Pickens, the road to get to the 1A state championship has run through Pickens here recently, or that's actually Pickens Academy, not Pickens High School. So excuse me on that. That's one of our new additions that we talked about earlier, Pickens Academy, who is making that move over from the AISA to the AHSAA. So there you go, Pickens. You have now found out which region you're going to be in. And so big news there for Pickens Academy, making that move from AISA to AHSAA. Another team making that move, Autauga Academy. They'll be in Region 4 in 1A, and they'll be in there with Keith, Verbena, Billingsley, Maplesville, Notasulga, Autaugaville, and Elwood Christian Academy. So Autaugaville and Autauga Academy will be in the same region. That should make for a fun rivalry matchup.
No doubt.
With those two from a football standpoint next year. And then, you look at it right there, you got Notasulga in there along with Maplesville, who has both been very good here recently. Looking at Region 5 now in 1A, you got South Lamar, Pickens County High School. So Pickens will stay in the north. Pickens County will. Pickens Academy there in the south. Berry High School, Marion County, Brilliant, Summiton Christian, Lynn, and Hubbartville. Should be a lot of fun there with Hubbartville, Lynn, and Pickens County all being in the same region with each other. And then you got Marion County, who has been very good in the girls basketball side here recently, making a couple of 1A girls basketball state championships as well.
Good job there, Caleb. We're unveiling these as we see them.
Looking at Region 6, you got Donahoe School, Wadley, Fayetteville, Victory Christian, Winterboro, Woodland, and Talladega County Central High School. So that will be your Region 6 there in 1A, and only a 7-team region for that region. That's what we talked about earlier. A couple of these regions, you try to get it to 8, but you can't, it can't always be as balanced as you want it to be. That's one of those regions that they'll only have 7 teams there in Region 6, but should be a fun one. Wadley has a chance to really make a lot of noise in that region when you look at what they've done here recently, how young they've been. Looking at Region 7, Cherokee High School, Phillips High School, Bear Creek there, Hackleburg, Shoals Christian, Vena High School, Waterloo High School, Addison, and Meek. And that will round out your Region 7 there, 8-team region for that region, and should be a fun and competitive one between all those schools there.
We're continuing to show you the regions. Caleb, you're doing a good job with it, buddy.
I'm looking at Region 8. You got Raglan, Valley Head, Spring Garden, who stays 1A. That's good news for them. Woodville High School, Eider, Appalachian, and Galesville. So should be a fun, competitive region there. Look at Spring Garden, obviously expecting them to make a lot of noise in girls basketball this year there with Ace Austin up there. So now moving over to 2A. Looking at 2A Region 1, Chickasaw High School, St. Luke's Episcopal School, Clark County, Washington County, Bayshore Christian, Central High School of Haneyville, and J.U. Blackshear will round out your Region 1 there in 2A. Should be a fun, competitive region there. You got Bayshore starting to get football rolling there. Got a very good football coach there in Coach Lazenby. And then looking at Region 2, 2A, Providence Christian School, G.W. Long, Sampson, Ayrton, Houston County High School, Geneva, Abbeville, and Cottonwood. So that'll round things out there. You got Ayrton and G.W. Long. That rivalry will stay together and continue facing off with each other, as well as Houston County, who we see get there in 2A, and they'll add into the mix there. Barber County, Highland Home, Goshen, Laverne, Zion Chapel, Pike Lib, and Calhoun High School. That'll be your Region 3 in 2A. So it should be a fun region there. Highland Home has been extremely good the last couple of years. Goshen had a great season this past year. Laverne is right there every year, and we talked about Pike Lib a lot earlier in the show. D-Mark finally getting into their region, getting into their classification, and they'll get to see how they do against teams that are more of their level there.
Yeah, they're glad to see that. What is it, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-team region right there? I think that's the smallest we've seen, correct?
Yeah, we've had 2 7-team regions so far, so no 6 teams at the moment. And here's Region 4. You got Central High School in Coosa, Ranburne, Reeltown, Horseshoe Bend, Lafayette, Lochapoka, who makes the move up from 1A to 2A this next year, and then Lynette High School. That is an action-packed region right there when you look at Coosa and what Coach Rusall's been building there at Coosa.
Ooh.
And then you add in Reeltown, Horseshoe Bend, and what they've been building there over the last couple of years. And then obviously Lafayette, Lynette, and Lochapoka all in there. Going to be a lot of athletes in that region. Looking at Region 5 in the north, Lamar County, Greene County, Tuscaloosa Academy, who we've mentioned a couple of times, Vincent, Isabella, Aliceville, and Sulligent. And so that's a region that will be spread out a little bit there with Vincent and Tuscaloosa Academy and Lamar County, Greene County, all those different schools. Susan Moore in there as well. Now you look at Region 6, you got Susan Moore, West End, Cold Springs, Cleveland, Southeastern, Falkville, and Coosa Christian School. We talked about them. They make the move from 1A to 2A after making a semifinal and then a state championship. So Coosa Christian will be in there with all those schools, Southeastern, Cleveland, Cold Springs, Susan Moore. And Susan Moore making the move from 3A to 2A. That'll benefit them a lot. And then 2A Region 7, you got Pisgah, North Sand Mountain, Pleasant Valley, Section, Sandrock, Gaston, and Cedar Bluff. And there's one notable team there that starts with an F that is not in that region.
Not in that group.
With Pisgah, and that's going to catch a lot of eyeballs, especially for people up in that region who were wondering if they were maybe going to be making a move. You may have gotten your answer right there. We're going to look at Region 8 next, but that tells you a lot. And there you go, Lexington, Tanner, Red Bay, Bell Green, Tharptown, Decatur Heritage, and Winston County. That will be your new Region 8. And so D-Mark, very notable. Fife Red Devils. Looks like they're going to be making the move up to 3A now.
They are. It appears they are. They are. They're absent from that sheet right there, and that would be correct. And I'm going to look right here while we're waiting on the next one.
So looking at 3A Region 1 now, so moving up to 3A.
There they are.
You got Hillcrest Evergreen there at the top, Cottage Hill, T.R. Miller, Monroe County, Bayside Academy, Excel, and Flomaton will all be in the same region there with each other. That's another 7-team region there to start out 3A. Looking at 3A Region 2, Slocum, Wicksburg, Houston Academy, Northside Methodist, Alabama Christian Academy, Trinity, and the Montgomery Academy. So you got Wicksburg making the move from 2A up to 3A, and they'll jump in there with Slocum, ACA out of Montgomery, Trinity, those programs. Looking at Region 3 and 3A, you got Wilcox Central, Dallas County, Sumter Central, Thomasville, Greensboro, Southside High School of Selma, Thorsby, and Prattville Christian Academy. That rounds out Region 3 there in 3A. Should be a fun region between those schools.
I'll help you out right here if you want me to give you a break, Caleb. What is this, 3A Region 4? Smaller region here, BB Comer, coming off of...
They're making the move up from 2A to 3A.
2A to 3A, Childersburg, Dadeville, Randolph County. There's your 2 AISA schools in that group, along with Beulah, Lee Scott Academy and Glenwood and Beulah rounding out. Now look at those local teams right there, Caleb, in that area. You keep the 2 AISA big schools that were the giants in the ASA in the same region when they move over to ASA. That's HSA. That's a good region right there.
Yeah, no doubt. You've had Randolph County and Dadeville in the same region the last couple of years as well. They stay in the same region along with Childersburg and Beulah. And so you got Comer, Glenwood, and Lee Scott. That'll be the new additions in there for them. Another 7-team region.
I mean, is it 1, 2, isn't it? Is it 7?
Or is that 8?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 7. We're having to look as you guys are as we see it. Yeah, another 7-team region. So I think Lee Scott, Glenwood, and those folks will be proud with their region right there.
Oh, no doubt. That's going to be a very, very competitive region going into next year from a football standpoint. Looking at Region 5 and 3A, Carbon Hill, Oakman High School, Gordo, Midfield, Phil Campbell, Hale County, Vinemont, and Hanceville. So you got Hale County High School making the move from 4A to 3A, and I know Coach Ryan Locke is going to be very happy seeing that move.
All right, we're going to move over here to 3A. Next region should be Region 6 coming up. In Class 3A, you're watching the reclassifications as they come out. Walter Welborn, Sachs, Locust Fort, Ohatchee, Westbrook Christian, Glencoe, Piedmont, and Weaver. Interesting group there, Caleb.
No doubt.
No.
That means you got Welborn, Sachs, and Weaver all moving from the south in 3A now to the north this time.
Right,
also got Locust Fort making the move from 2A to 3A. That was notable in that last region.
Good point. We're having to catch these as we go. Is this a new one here, or is that this?
Yeah, Region 7.
Region 7. Colbert Heights High School, Rogers High School, Elkmont High School, Lauderdale County, Clements High School, Colbert County, Mars Hill Bible, and Sheffield High School. Region 7 in 3A. Caleb?
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun there. And Lauderdale County and Mars Hill both had incredible years this past year. And then here's your look at Region 8, and that's going to be an action-packed region right there, especially when you look at those first 3 teams there at the top. Geraldine, Sylvania, Fife, Asbury, Collinsville, Whitesburg Christian, Brindley Mountain, and Holly Pond. So you have both Collinsville and Fife that make the move from the same region in 2A. They'll move up together now here in 3A Region 8.
Yeah, that's a 7-team region there. We haven't seen any 6 so far, have we?
No, right? not that I've seen yet.
Yeah, not that I've seen. As we continue to unveil, should go to 4A here now. Here we go. St. Michael's Catholic, this is Region 1 and 4A. St. Michael's Catholic, Mobile Christian having to move up with the competitive balance factor. Orange Beach.
They go from 2 to 4A.
Yes, they made the double jump. Satsuma High School at Scambia, Jackson High School, and W.S. Neal. That's an interesting.
It's a fun region.
Yeah, region. Jackson High School right there. Yeah, very competitive. Another small region there. Region 1 as far as 7 teams.
Yep.
I should say compatible. All right.
Looking at Region 2 here in 4A, you got Strawn, Ashford, Dale County, Daleville, Pike County, Geneva, New Brockton, and Opp High School. So that will round out that region. That's an 8-team region there. Region 2 of 4A, and should be a fun one. Strawn had a great year this past year. Dale County, we've seen them playing for a state championship in recent memory as well. Now looking at Region 3 and 4A, Handley, Booker T, who made a ton of noise there at the end of the year in 4A, making it to the semifinals. St. James makes the move because of competitive balance from 3A to 4A. Then you have Talladega, Bibb County, Tallahassee, West Blockton, and Bullitt County. That is a region that is spread out all over the state.
It is.
When you look at Handley and Bibb County being in the same region along with Talladega, that's a big circle right there in the middle of the state for that region.
Booker T too now. That's on the other. That's up towards St. James. All right, 4A, Region 4, Fultondale, Fairfield, Pleasant Grove, Oak Grove, Tarrant, Holt High School, American Christian, ACA, and Dora High School.
Very interesting. Pleasant Grove now will be a South team in 4A. So they go from being a North 5A team to being a South team along with Fairfield.
I was going to say Fairfield too. This is something we talked about in our 3-hour pre-show, the moving from the north to the south.
How about American Christian in Tuscaloosa being in that same region? Dora as well, with what Coach Chavis Williams has done there. They got knocked out a little earlier than expected this year.
We're having to see these as you are, so it takes us a minute to kind of, figure out who's what.
That's going to be a fun region, though. When you look at Dora, ACA, Pleasant Grove, all those teams in there together. And then looking at the North, Region 5 there in 4A, Curry, Haleyville, Cordova, Hamilton, Winfield makes the move from 3A to 4A. Good Hope, J.B. Pennington, and Fayette County. I'm going to tell you, J.B. Pennington and Winfield being in the same region, that's another one. That's spread out right up there in the north. Long, long road trips for those two teams when they have to travel to each other.
All right, got 3 more, 6, 7, and 8 in 4A. That's Region 5. Now we're waiting on Region 6 to show up. We're running through all classifications. We're on 4A. All right, Region 6, Munford High School, Etowah High School, Alexandria, Cleburne County, Cherokee County, Hoax Bluff, Asheville, White Plains, and Aniana.
That is a 9-team region there as well.
That is a big one, yeah. You got 2 region games, 2
non-region games. Alexandria, Hoax Bluff, Aniana, all those being in the same region. That's going to be tough there. Hatton making the move from 2A all the way up to 4A. Another one that has to make that same type of move we talked about earlier. They're going to be in there with East Lawrence, West Morgan, who had a great year this year, led the state in scoring in football, West Limestone, Wilson, Danville, Deschler, and Central High School of Florence will all be right in there together. Another one that's kind of spread out a little bit. We'll have to do some traveling there when you consider going from Hatton all the way over to Florence. And then looking at Region 8 here, Madison Academy, they make the move from 3A to 4A due to competitive balance. You got Kate Duncan Smith, DAR, St. John Paul II out of Huntsville, Plainview. They're moving up from 3A to 4A as well. Randolph School, North Jackson, Madison County, New Hope, and Westminster Christian. So it should be a fun region there with Westminster and Madison Academy. They faced off at the end of the regular season. You add in Plainview, Coach Dale Pruitt into the mix, and North Jackson's been getting better year after year.
5A, Region 1, Citronelle, Faith Academy, the Viger Wolves, BC Rain, LaFleur, Williamson, and UMS Wright, along with Alberta right there in Region 1 and 5A.
Should be fun. It's a competitive region there in 5A for sure.
All right, here's a smaller one, Caleb, Region 2, Andalusia, Eufaula, Greenville, Carroll, Charles Henderson, Headland High School, and Montgomery Catholic.
Wow.
That's a tight-knit group right there now.
You talk about Charles Henderson that just played for the 5A state championship. Catholic won it in 4A. Andalusia won it in 4A. You're talking about a lot of teams that have had a lot of success from a football standpoint, all within that one region there. Montevallo, Northside High School, Sipsey Valley, Shelby County, Jemison, Demopolis, and Selma. That will round out your Region 3 there in 5A, and should be a fun region with all those schools in there as well.
17 Region 4, Central High School out of Clay, Beauregard, Valley, Sylacauga, Marbury, Holtville, and Elmore County.
I think that region stayed the same.
Yeah, but not too.
I don't think there's any changes in that region at all.
I believe you're
actually.
right. I think you're right.
Unless they added a 10, maybe added
I
one. I think Marbury maybe added in there.
I think so
them.
too.
Yeah. Looking at Region 5 and 5A, you got Corner, Briarwood. Briarwood drops from 6A to 5A, so that'll be huge for them. But they get in there with Ramsey, who's played for the last two. They won one of them. Center Point, they moved down from 6A to 5A. That'll be huge for George Bates and company there. John Carroll, who Will Mara has really gotten them on the rise. G.W. Carver out of Birmingham, they also moved down. Winona and then Hayden High School will be in the mix as well. So it should be a very fun region there with Briarwood and Center Point making the move from 6A down to 5A and getting in there with some teams that have been very successful here recently. Looking at Region 6, Springville, Moody, St. Clair County, Lincoln, Anniston, Leeds, and Jacksonville. And so what stands out to you there is Anniston and Jacksonville not only move up in classification, but stay in the same region together there, and we'll be in there with a very good Moody program and a very good Leeds program there with Coach Jerry Hood. But you got Lincoln sitting right there who's been on the rise over the last couple of years, and Springville had a much better year this year in football than they've had here recently. So it should be a fun region there with some teams that are on the rise and getting better year after year.
All right, Region 7 and 5A, Priceville, Brooks, Ardmore High School, West Point High School, Lawrence County, East Limestone, and Russellville High School. 7-team region in 5A. That's then Region 8, Sardis, Fairview, Douglas High School, Boaz, Guntersville, Scottsboro, Arab, and AP Brewer High School in Region 8. Now we go to 6A, Caleb. Two more classifications, excuse me.
Yeah, looking at 6A Region 1, you got St. Paul's, Saraland, Spanish Fort, Theodore, Murphy, McGill, Blunt.
Goodness.
Gulf Shores does move up to 6A from 5A, and Baldwin County. So there's your 9-team region right there in Mobile in 6A. And should be a very, very fun one when you consider, obviously what Saraland's been, what Spanish Fort has been. Theodore with Coach Mask sitting there. Gulf Shores making the move up. McGill, year after year, just always consistent. St. Paul's, we know what they are. Baldwin County continues to get better every year. Should be a fun one there. And then here's Region 2 and 6A, Stanhope, Percy Julian. So Lee, Percy Julian makes the drop from 7A to 6A. That'll be big for them. Park Crossing, Wetumpka, Russell County, Rehoboth, and Pike Road. So should be a fun one there. Rehoboth kind of the odd man out that's spread out. Everybody else right there is right in that Montgomery area. And then you got Rehoboth, which just have to make a couple of long drives during the year.
All right, Region 3 and 6A, the Benjamin Russell Wildcats. Coach Mitty Grider, Spain Park.
Wow.
Chilton County, Pelham, Helena, Chelsea, and Calera.
That's what we talked about, and I knew there was a chance Calera could move up to 7A, but there's Chelsea, not only Chelsea, but Chelsea and Spain Park.
Yep.
Make the move from 7A to 6A. That is huge news
for both schools right there. Spain Park dropping and Chelsea. We told that. I know Coach Ritchie's happy, I know. Hey, he did a good job. He don't care. He did a good job in 7A. Well, I don't mean that the wrong way, Coach.
Yeah.
You know that. Let's see, Region 4, he can compete with anybody. Central High School in T-Town, Hueytown, Bessemer City. This is McAdory, Brookwood, Northridge, and Paul Bryant. Nothing unusual there, I see, Caleb.
Yeah, kind of those things
That's
have
the
all
old
been in the
T-Town
same region
there,
here
as I call
recently.
them. Yeah, the old T-Town group, as I call them. The old Bear High School there. How can you forget them?
Looking at Region 5, Gardendale, Mortimer Jordan, Woodlawn, Jackson Olin, Parker, Homewood, and Minor. And so really the only change here is Homewood moves from that region with Benjamin Russell and all them to now being up here with Mortimer Jordan, Gardendale, and those schools in there. So that should be interesting. Huffman obviously being in the mix, and would love Huffman to get some points more. It's actually Region 6 now.
Yeah,
You got Huffman, Mountain Brook, Clay Chalkville, Pinson, Shades Valley, Oxford, Pell City. That's going to be an extremely competitive region.
Yep, it is. Mountain Brook plays good football. In fact, show me somebody that don't. You know what I mean? Coach Pro's going to get them going there at Pell City. Good group right there in Region 6. Two more in Class 6A, and then we go to 7A. We've got Region 7 coming up here quickly as we continue to watch Coleman. This is the north part of the state. Coleman, Athens, Columbia, Decatur, Hartselle, Coach Brian Moore there, Muscle Shoals, and Jasper. 7-team region. Good group. Good group. A lot of good coaches and good teams. We go to Region 8, last 6A, Lee High School. That's in Huntsville, folks. Fort Payne, Hazel Green, Buckhorn, Gadsden City, Southside, and May Jemison. The final 6A region. Caleb,
That's Southside and Gadsden too, so they make the move up from 5. No, but I'm saying they make the move up from 5A to 6A as well to get into that region there with Gadsden City. So that'll be very interesting. Looking at 7A Region 1, you got Davidson, Mary Montgomery, who had a great year this past year. Shout out to Coach Golson there.
Good job.
Baker, Foley, Alma Bryant, Fairhope, Robertsdale, Daphne. So really, I don't think anything changed there outside of, I think Robertsdale moved from 6A up to 7A. And so that would be your only change there.
All right, this is our neck of the woods where I stomping wrong. Caleb, Carver High School, right there, Central High School, Jag, Auburn, Enterprise Smith, Dothan, Opelika. Nothing new, right?
Yeah, no, and that confirms what we talked about, that there was a chance Prattville left that region to go up north, and it looks like that's exactly what happened. As you look at Region 3, Hoover, Vestavia, Thompson, Oak Mountain, Tuscaloosa County, Hewitt-Trussville, Prattville. But how about this one moving up to 7A, D-Mark? Hillcrest High School out of Tuscaloosa makes the move from 6A to 7A to now get into the gauntlet that is Region 3, as well as Prattville making that move into that region as well.
Look at those teams right there. Look at the names. Look at the names.
There's not an off. That's what we talked about earlier. That's the SEC West.
Goodness. All right, we got the man coming up here. All right, that's it. Let's see, 7A final region, Grissom, Sparkman, Huntsville, Bob Jones, James Clemens, Florence, Austin, and Albertville. That's it. I think we're fixing to have the prez on, aren't we? Let's go to my man, Mr. Wells there. He's the prez.
So there we go.
That's you and me, Caleb. I thought we was going to get the prez on.
Yeah, that rounds it out there with our regions, and hopefully a lot of people now happy that they are able to find out who's going to be able to. I'm happy. And I'll tell you what, now there's some big surprises, and there were some teams moving up and down.
Yes, sir. I think you're right. I think they said we were supposed to get Mike Welch. I'm ready. If we're ready, where's Mr. Welch? Mr. President, good morning. Hey, Mike.
Hey, good morning. How are you guys?
I'm good. Mike, you're the president of Central Board. We're glad to have you with us this morning.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
All right. Tell us what took place behind those doors this morning, if you will, Mike.
Well, a lot of work went in before the meeting. A lot of work went in. The staff here in Montgomery does a super job of putting everything together first, and that's a months-long process. And then the board goes into that meeting, and we go through every region and every alignment, every section and area, and volleyball, football, cross-country, swimming, all the fall sports. So we take time and go through each one of those just as I guess a system of checks and balances to see what the staff's put together and what works best for our schools.
It's a tedious procedure. Coach Washburn was with us on air and explained it. I've had it explained to Coach Salvery. It's difficult, isn't it, Mr. Welch?
It is. It's a difficult thing to do because, as you've heard it said many times, if you find a problem and you create a solution for that problem, you also create another problem somewhere else. So it's kind of a domino effect. Very difficult to put that puzzle together, and you just have to come to an agreement at some point is, okay, sometimes it's just the lesser of two evils, but it's what we think's best and it'll work for this 2-year period.
Now, we went through the process of what goes in it. You guys have to figure the average daily attendance after Labor Day, the first 20 days. You have to do the multiplier for the private member schools, and you have to do the competitive balance. You list them and kind of go through that with us, Mike, how I know there's going to be computer, but you can't draw 4 lines and go boom, 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 because all the schools aren't located in that area, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's very, again, a tedious process, and our staff here in Montgomery does an awesome job looking at those things that you just mentioned. Getting the enrollments right, getting everybody ranked in order from top to bottom, and then finding those natural breaks in enrollment to decide, where our classification breaks are. Because we don't have a set enrollment like some states do. We think it works better to be fluid with that and to make sure that we have the right number of teams in each region or in each area. That's kind of what dictates that a little more than just a cut number. So again, it's a massive process, and thanks to our staff, it seems to work pretty well for the state of Alabama and our member schools.
Let me tell you, Mr. Mike Welch, you do a tremendous job representing the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I've known you a great long time. You're a class guy and represent them well. And am I right to say that there are no 6-team regions, Mike? Is that right?
That's right. See, and that was a priority of the board, was to not have any 6-team regions in football. A lot of our coaches, just talking about being, having fair and consistent play, and to be able to try to get all of our regions to be 7 and 8 teams so that it's a little more consistent. And we did have a few 9 teams thrown in there due to travel and some different situations. But yes, sir, that's correct. No 6-team regions was a priority for the sport of football this year.
Good deal. I know you got a large group. I know y'all are friends and get along. Was it pretty, everything go pretty good this morning, Mike?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Our board does a tremendous job, looking through that, kind of doing your homework, so to speak. When that information is given to the board, you look through it, and this board does a great job. Everybody has their home schools and their school systems that they want what's best for, but this board works to do what's best for the big picture and for the whole state of Alabama. And we didn't have anybody that's, just out to do what's best for their own school, and that's just a credit to each board member and the integrity and the character that each one has.
Amen. I think Caleb wants to talk to you, Mr. Wells.
Yeah, Caleb Brooks here. We talked about these regions, and this year wanting to make sure that we have 7 in each region, and not have 6 and have certain regions that. But when you have, like, one of the ones that stood out to us was seeing Rehoboth in a region with all those Montgomery schools. How tough does that? I mean, obviously they had to be in there, but how tough is that when you have a team like that who is so far away, and you're trying to make, did that lead to a lot more discussion on someone like them who's going to have to obviously make multiple trips from down there to Montgomery, plus those Montgomery schools having to go to them?
Yeah, that's one of those problems that you just can't fix. I mean, Rehoboth being their location and the only class, the school in that classification in that whole area, it's kind of just, you look at that situation and say it just had to be done. there's you've got to put them in a region, and you put them in the closest one, and it does cause some travel hardships. But that just happens from time to time. In other situations, there may be you may create a 9-team region to keep a school from having to travel like Rehoboth is this time, but they're kind of on that island in that classification, so that was kind of tough. Yeah.
President, Mr. Welch, thank you so much for your time and your service to the AHSA, and thanks for being with us. God bless you. Merry Christmas, Mr. Welch.
Hey, thank you all. Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir. Mike Welch, the president of the board there, and what a class act. I mean, the kind of guy you want to represent yourself. And that whole board, I don't just mean Mr. Welch, the entire board. And I knew there wasn't any issues. I just had to get him to say it.
Well, and
thank you, Mike.
I do think that was a good look into why we had to wait so long today. I mean, there's a lot of different discussions that go into it. And that's why I wanted to bring up the Rehoboth one with them, was because, that stood out to us when we saw that, that all these Montgomery schools, and yet then there's Rehoboth who's way down. I mean, they're below Dothan, and are going to have to make multiple trips. Now, those Montgomery teams are going to have to make trips to them as well. But, as he just kind of said, there's sometimes you're in those situations, you just can't avoid that. And it's unfortunate for those programs that are going to have to make those trips. For Rehoboth, who 4 different times have to make the trip up. But it just shows that there's a lot that has to go into this. It's not as easy as just drawing some lines on a map like some people think and saying, hey, you can just sort it out this way. There's a lot that goes into all this.
If there's one good thing that came out of today's show, I think that's the thing. I think we educated people. I think it's always good to educate yourself on what they're doing. They always fire. You hear people fire on things. Do you really know what you're firing about? You know what I mean? You need to do your education. And we've done that ourselves. And I think they're going to show the entire classification. I think I heard that in my ear. If you don't mind, if you could go 7A down and kind of show us how the entire classification, I've got that on our phone, Caleb. I don't know if you've seen it, the entire list of the schools as they were. Well, he's putting the region up. I was talking about the entire classification. But I went to 7A. I was basically talking about do you have the numbers, the reclassification as far as the size of the schools? Do you have that on screen? I don't think they do, Caleb. But this is Region 7. What I was talking about was the whole classification, and I do have those numbers, but they're not on screen, so I don't know if it'd be worth referencing those when we're not able to look at them, Caleb. But anyway, we can go ahead.
But no, I mean, there was just a couple of ones that really kind of stood out to you, especially the 2 that moved up from 2A to 4A in Orange Beach and Hatton. I mean, it's already tough enough to move up one classification. For those 2 programs now to move up 2 different classifications, that's going to be something to really, really watch with those 2 schools.
A couple of things. The largest school, well, it didn't give us the numbers. The top 32 schools, number 1 is Auburn. This is attendance, okay, not in any other. Hoover's the largest school system. Auburn, Sparkman, Baker, Central, top 5. Then Enterprise, Vestavia. Bottom, 7A, Florence High School. Going up 1, Hillcrest, Opelika III, 7A from the bottom. Top 6A attendance, 58 schools in 6A. Hazel Green, Spain Park comes from 7A down. Clay Chalkville, top 3. Helena and Percy Julian, top 5. Bottom school, I don't have numbers, just names. St. Paul, competitive balance, moved them up. Bottom school on attendance, Bessemer City and Jackson Olin. Top 5A school, 59 schools in Class 5A. Alberta, the number 1 5A. AP Brewer, Arab, Eufaula, Scottsboro, the top 5. Selma right there, then Faith Academy. Moving up, bottom up, Montgomery Catholic, competitive balance, moved them up into that class, into 3A, into 5A. UMS Wright, first school in the bottom. Priceville up. Top school in 4A, Satsuma, West Morgan, Deshler, Alexandria, St. Paul II Catholic. Bottom 4A teams. Mobile Christian, competitive balance, moved up. St. James moved up. Montgomery Academy, all 3 schools moved up. Competitive balance, didn't have anything to do with numbers. Hatton, the smallest school. Up from Hatton, J.B. Pennington. Largest 3A, Hanceville High School, 61 schools in 3A. Hanceville High School. Asbury, Dallas County, Lauderdale, and Rogers. Smallest 3A, Mars Hill Bible, competitive balance, moved up. Smallest 3A, Trinity Presbyterian, Ohatchee. Top 2A would be Clark County, Lynette, Thornton, Providence. Bottom 2A, Coosa Christian,
Decatur Heritage. Cooster Christian moved up competitive balance. Addison's the 61 schools in 1A. Addison, Appalachian, Billingsley, and Holy Spirit. Smaller school is Elwood Christian. I think we got Executive Director Alvin Briggs almost ready. So that gives you I didn't get numbers, but I gave you the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
And if you notice, let me say this. In 7A, sorry I'm having to do this on the fly here. 7A, 32 teams. 6A, 58 schools. 5A, 59 schools. 4A, 65 schools. 3A, 61 schools. 2A, 57 schools. 1A, 61 schools.
There you go.
There's the numbers.
That's a good little breakdown. And there were some schools that got a pleasant surprise too. Some that maybe were expecting to move up that didn't, and that type of stuff. So some schools got some good news, some got some bad news. But looks like now we are joined by the Executive Director of the AHSAA, Mr. Alvin Briggs, who has been busy this morning and going through a lot of different meetings and
I think we got him.
Having a talk.
Mr. Big A, you there, Alvin?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Good morning, Alvin. Merry Christmas.
Good morning. Merry Christmas.
How are you today, Alvin?
I'm doing great.
Good. How did everything go this morning? Talk to us. Tell us about it.
I mean, it was our normal classification, D-Mark. You know, we just went through it. The board had a chance to look at everything, and we went through our normal process like we did, and a lot of discussion, a lot of seeing where we were, but just the normal classification process.
So you feel pleased? You had your competitive balance moved in. You had some teams that move up. You had some teams that move down. We talked with Mike Welch just ago. It's a tedious process. It's a long process. You feel comfortable with everything, Coach Briggs?
Yes, sir, D-Mark. I mean, you know, the board went through it and they approved it, and we feel comfortable where we at, and you know, and competitive balance doing everything it's supposed to, and you know, we had some schools that, like you said, moved up and moved down, and so we're pleased. I tell you what. I have to get kudos to this staff, Kim Vickers, Jeff Seegers, Marvin Cho, J.T. Lawrence, Devin Booth, David Halford, Brandon Dean. I tell you what, those group have put a lot of work in, a lot of tedious hours, a lot of man hours that nobody ever see, along with the other jobs they have to do, and taking time to do this. And I call it a lot of homework they did. They did a lot of homework trying to get all this to as close as perfect that we can get it. And I'm going to use one of a word our former director used to use, is conundrum. Is trying to make sure that we can get this as fair and as possible we possibly can get it.
There were no 16 regions. They were all 7 or larger. There were no 16 regions, and you welcome 4 new schools to your association, or actually 5.
Well, you know, yeah, the board charged us with not having any 16 regions in football. And as much as possible, try to have 7 and above, and because of the way the numbers will fall, we do have a couple of regions that have a few more 7s than we would like, but you know, it's just one of those things. And yes, we have 4 schools that move in, and that's going to be great additions to this association, and that will make a positive impact in all the sports they participate in. So we're excited about that. We're excited about where we are with classification and where we're going.
Alvin Briggs with us, Executive Director of Alabama High School Athletic Association. Where will we see the classifications for the other fall sports, Coach Briggs?
All those are online. All our fall sports now online. Everything's up online, and you can go and see volleyball, cross country, girls flag football is up there. Swimming and diving. You'll see all those up on the website now. We can go click and see every region, every section, every area. All those things are up online on our website, ready to go.
Mr. Executive Director, thank you. Merry Christmas to you and Miss Roxy. God bless you, buddy. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Yes, sir. Alvin Briggs, Executive Director of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. Looking dapper there this morning, looking sharp.
Yeah.
Very professional. Very professional.
Long meetings down there this morning, and You know, we went on at 9:30. They've been meeting since before.
God, they were there at 8.
So,
yeah, they were there at 8. Great job by that whole staff. I'm going to tell you what, I was going to bring it up right before he did. Look, kudos. You and I know what all they do. I've been involved in it from the media side for a long time, and I've been blessed to be a part of it with Coach Washburn, Coach Salve, and now with Coach Briggs, and I'm extremely blessed. I enjoyed being here with you today, Caleb. Merry Christmas, buddy.
It's been a lot of fun.
God bless you. And oh, we ain't done. We're not done. Hold on. We ain't done yet. Who we going to interview next? Tell me who we got. Oh, Mr. Seegers. Okay. Well, they're chilling out. They happy. All guys chilling up there happy because they gone.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But, hey, great work, Caleb. They did a good job. That board looks to me like, as they say, all guys chilling happy up there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't, you know, I like that they made it a point to not have 7-team regions.
I do too.
Or 16.
That's not fair,
Everybody's got to
Caleb.
have 7 or
It's
more.
not fair.
You know, I think that was a good positive. One of the things that I just thought about that I wouldn't have minded asking them is how they figure out what the cutoff is.
Well,
you know, because
we talked
you have certain
about
regions
that.
with 61.
Yeah.
So how do they figure out which, you know, where to cut off? You know, what 6A's got 58 in it.
Well, you
and
have competitive. I'm with you. I don't know.
Yeah.
We should have asked that.
So I wonder if they put a certain amount of public schools in each.
Jeff's coming on?
Yeah.
We
so
could ask.
we'll ask
I don't
Jeff.
think
I'm sure
that
he'll know.
would be. I wouldn't think he'd do that. But I don't know. We could be. But I do think all of our, man, I have had tons of people reach out. I appreciate all the coaches and all our viewers. Look, we did. Okay, now we're fixing to put the enrollment numbers up there. Well, look there. There they are with numbers. So, you know what? Now, I said Hoover had the largest school system. Now you see who has the largest school system. It was flipped on me. It's Auburn. So there are the numbers right there. Auburn, Hoover, Baker, Sparkman, and Thompson in Enterprise. There's your big list, starting at the top, Auburn. I apologize, my numbers were a little different than I had in front of me.
Yeah, looking on down. Smith Station, Alma Bryant, Tuscaloosa County, Davidson, and then you have Florence sitting right there at the bottom. You know, they would love nothing more than to, you know, be able to make that move on down. But so there, that gives you a look at how big some of the schools in the state are, and you got to keep in mind also this is only 3 grades that they're taking for these numbers. This isn't 4 or 5, whatever it is. This is only 3 grades, and it used to be that they took 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Now it's 9th, 10th, and 11th grade because those are the kids that are at least going to be in school for 1 year at least of the new thing, which I think was a smart move by them because
I do too.
You had some schools that would maybe sneak in at, you know, 1 classification lower but had that huge 9th grade class come in. Now that big 9th grade class gets counted. And
yeah, because the seniors are gone.
Yeah.
So that's been, gosh, time flies. That's probably been 3 rotations ago. 6, I don't know. But yeah, you're right. They do 9 through 11. We mentioned that. The numbers on the website vary from that, so I don't know. I think that number on the screen was the old numbers. I think the new one, I don't know, either the website's wrong, it says updated, or that what we just, either way, I don't know.
But we know that Hoover and Auburn are the 2 biggest schools.
Yeah, they're 2 big schools.
That's what matters.
We got it
more than
right,
anything,
but
so.
yeah, so I don't know. Oh, we ain't going to get Jeff Seegers.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry.
So,
well, no more interviews, so you can't answer your question.
yeah,
All right.
I would have liked to have found
You the head
out.
man, you take over.
Well, it's been a fun one for us here today. Look, we appreciate, you know, we didn't know what to expect coming into this. We figured, you know, from what we had been told from a time frame standpoint, all that, we thought that we'd have the classifications a little bit sooner for everybody out there. But look, we appreciate all you guys sticking with us. You know, we did our best to come up with talking points to, you know, talk about different things, and I enjoyed talking about a lot of this stuff here today. I mean, you know, it's fun to get to talk about high school sports, and that's one of my favorite parts of going to the Super 7, to the finals, doing any of that, is being around other people who have an interest in all this and talking about different scenarios and different teams. You know, I love, like Wednesday this past week, being there and talking about, hey, what do you think of Coosa Christian and Leroy? What do you think of, you know, Montgomery Catholic and Cherokee? Can Cherokee, you know, I mean, just having those type of conversations with people is a lot of fun. And you know, like I said, I mean, it's just amazing to me to see the way that high school sports and the coverage of high school sports has grown since. I mean, I've been out of school now for 10 years. This will be, when all these guys graduate this year, it'll be 10 years since I graduated. And just the way high school sports is covered, it's gone from, you pretty much had to go to your local paper or AL.com in order to get any kind of high school news.
AL.com wasn't around when I was around. When I was in high school.
Yeah, but that's where you had to go to get news. And now, I mean, it's all over. It's on Twitter. We have a TV network, a radio network. We have all these different stuff now that
on the mark. 3 hours a day for high school sports.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it, and you're right, Caleb. I enjoyed being here with you. You're a big high school guy, and I appreciate what work you've done in your 10 years, and I certainly enjoy it. I've enjoyed being here. I appreciate Vincent and you having me, and I appreciate the AHSA. I admire what they do. I've enjoyed the show. I think today is a fresh start for every athlete that's moving up. We are proud of the 7 teams that won it, and the 2 girls teams that won it. But today, new classifications for next year. They're already preparing for next year. So new day, we can look forward. And Coach Briggs said all the other numbers are online at hsa.com. You can go right there where I was looking at those numbers. So Caleb, Merry Christmas to you, buddy.
Yeah, Merry Christmas
and
to
all
you.
our viewers and all our coaches. God
Merry
bless
Christmas
all of
to
you.
everybody out there. Hey, look, 1 week from now we'll be celebrating with family, and that's kind of what this year is all about. And so make sure to enjoy that. Enjoy your time with everybody. For all you coaches out there, hey, enjoy your break. You get this little bit of time period. Not basketball coaches, unfortunately.
Yeah,
those and the wrestling coaches still going, but everybody else, y'all get a small little break here from school, from work, from all that, and get a chance to relax and enjoy yourself before we get right back into the grind. You'll have baseball, softball, all those spring sports will get rolling in January, and we'll be crowning some new state champions coming up here soon.
If you're a coach or a teacher, thanks for what you do.
Yep.
A lot of work, and we appreciate what you do.
No doubt. So for D. Mark Mitchell, I'm Caleb Brooks. This has been the AHSAA reclassification special here with the AHSA TV network, and hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back again with some more high school sports content right here soon with AHSA TV network.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you for watching. We got to watch memories be made that will last a lifetime. Thank you for watching and coming along for the ride with us. Let's relive some of those memories as we say goodnight from Bryant-Denny Stadium.
There was never plan B, just a path I'm taking, breaking on through on the road I'm making. I knew one day I'd get my shot, so here I am to give it all I got. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, cause this is the big time. This is the big time. First hit these streets, had to scratch a claw, made me hard to beat. They were real early, had to put in the time just to get it right. Now it's time to make my stand. Gonna show the whole world just who I am. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, cause this is the big time. This is
a great game. It's great weather. The coaches have done a great job having these guys prepared and putting these guys in position to make plays. And now we're going to see them make plays today, and I think we're in for a great game. All the guys, this is not going to be your lesser tier. You know, they talk about the Alabama-Mississippi game. This game is going to be a top-tier game with some great players in it, and you're going to see some great plays and playmakers today, and I'm looking forward to it.
Coach, we'll be right back. Joining us will be the starting lineup right after this commercial break.
This is just a gray metal box, right? Let's get a little closer. Closer. Amana brand gas furnaces are designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA. So this baby is true red, white, and blue.
Uncle Marcus, will you tell us a story about King Boys again?
Sure. Well, it all started back in 2008.
2008?
We didn't have all the fancy towing equipment we do now, but we did have a service and a desire to help our customers. You see, kids, you must train your mind and your body to be able to help the people you call customer. When they call on us, it's showtime. Understand me. King Boys' mission is to help when people are in need. So what's our motto, children?
King Boys forever!
There's a lot in life to smile about. Are loose dentures or missing teeth keeping you from enjoying the things you love? Don't miss out on enjoying life's precious moments. You can be you again with affordable mini dental implants. You can smile again, laugh out loud, and have your self-confidence back. Let us help you make it memorable.
I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
You deserve a bonus. Get a new 55-inch 4K TV. Now at Sarah Nissan. 3 locations. Buy or lease any new Sarah Nissan and get a new 55-inch 4K TV, no charge. Event pricing on every new Nissan. 0% financing for 60 months and make 0 payments till next year. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge. So come get your bonus at Sarah Nissan in Birmingham and Sylacauga. Plus, Tony Sarah Nissan in Coleman.
For almost 10 years, there's been the go-to place for tires and automotive repair, Right Tire. Right Tire sells all makes of tires for anyone's vehicle and anyone's budget. And with Right Tire, you always get the right prompt service with the right price. Right Tire also can handle all of your bumper-to-bumper automotive needs with certified brake service, alignment, oil changes, tune-ups, and so much more. So when you want tires and automotive done right, see Right Tire on West Fort Williams in the heart of Sylacauga. Right work, right price, every time.
Gabe Brito will be kicking off for the North team. Today, they will have the navy and blue jerseys on. They'll be kicking off to Ronnie Royal, and Ronnie Royal is a young man from Gulf Shores High School, fresh off of his 5A state championship for the Gulf Shores Dolphins, and he was the most valuable player in that game, heading to North Carolina State, and he's electric. So here we go, Coach. Toe to leather. It's time for the 65th annual AHSA North-South game, and they'll be coming out from the 1-yard line. A nice return right around the right end, and we'll see him pushed out. E.J. Hall from Booker T. Washington gets things started for us today.
And I think E.J. Hall was a big reason that Booker T made the run they made this year, surprising about everyone in the state playoffs with some big wins, especially the one against Jackson. So he's a playmaker, and to be back there with Ronnie Royal. And, of course, they kicked it away from Ronnie, which doesn't surprise a lot of people.
Caleb McCreary, the starting quarterback for the South squad out of Montgomery Catholic. He's heading to Troy to play for the Trojans, 5'11", 185-pound senior. He's electric with the football in his hands. We'll see him get started. He's very familiar with Kirk Johnson's offense and system. Zach Golson is the offensive coordinator.
Starting off with a little zone read, which you figured they would do with the 2 quarterbacks, with the Flowers kid and the McCreary kid. Both of them are dual threat guys. So you expect to see a lot of that. You also expect the quarterback runs to be involved in this game as well. So they started off with an H-back.
Nick Clark with a nice gain. And there'll be certain rules in this game that we'll talk about as the game unfolds as well. And the fake to Clark, and it's going to be connected, and we're going to see the speed here of these wide receivers from Booker T. Washington. E.J. Hall once again with a nice reception.
Exactly. A little RPO, and like we say, you're going to see a lot of run-pass options, quarterback runs, give it, and quick passes, a lot of bubble screens, and that was just a quick slant.
Our first down of the contest for the South, and E.J. Hall again with a nice reception. He is a Troy commit as well. So you have Troy to Troy as bouncing it outside is Clark. Going to get a couple and upended a nice tackle there by the North. And when you look at the North, they're making the tackle Jamarcus Jones from Ramsey, the 5'11", 175-pound defensive back.